Heat Bucks, and no Giannis Antetokounmpo. He did merely a stationary workout before the game, clearly not in any sort of condition to play. It does seem interesting, though, to think about whether he could play in Game 6, because that's really what gives the urgency to this game. If you think he could potentially come back in Game 6 and be remotely effective, then this game really, really matters. If you don't think that, then, the Heat will just take care of him in Game 6 or Game 7.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, thinking about the kind of the arc of this series is fundamentally different. And I'm interested in seeing what this Bucks team looks like. I mean, Chris Middleton did a lot in Game 4, big part of their comeback and eventual win. But the entire paradigm is going to be different for the Bucks. And then something that's a big shift from Game 4 is Milwaukee doesn't get the advantage of, let's call it, surprise. I mean, obviously you'd rather have Giannis than not, but now Miami can figure out what worked, what didn't, and distinctly plan for this version of the Milwaukee Bucks.
So Chris Middleton had a incredible overtime after going 0 for 6 from the field in the fourth quarter, and he will, of course, be prominently featured. Dante Di Vincenzo will start for Giannis. He closed out Game 4 and had that key free throw with only a couple of seconds left to tie the game after Dragic fouled him on the baseline, and the Heat going with their familiar group that we've seen throughout the playoffs.
So the thing that I'm most interested in here is also what happens with the Bucks' vaunted rim protection. Brook Lopez still a wonderful rim protector, and we'll have to see how that fits.
Yeah, absolutely, and clearly you would think that they're now going to try a lot of stuff to get Lopez away from the rim, even more of that handoff game for Duncan Robinson and Hero. And are the Bucks going to react to that and bring Lopez away from the rim, or are they going to live with those threes and try to hold him to 2 shots at the rim, which is all they got in the first half? Bledsoe starting off with pressure. Looks like they're going to try and bring Butler to the near side off the screen. Matthews gets through it. Trying to post up. Are they going to double, or they play him straight up? Matthews has done pretty well on him. Bledsoe left Dragic, but the pass was off. Now Butler has to create late clock. He goes at Bledsoe. Good help from Matthews, but that sets up Crowder's three-pointer off the glass. It has not been a lucky series for the Milwaukee Bucks by any stretch of the imagination. Di Vincenzo will start for the Bucks. Little Iverson cut here for Bledsoe. He'll attack Dragic. Nice help from Robinson, but that's a good pass to set up Matthews, and he'll go to the foul line.
Yeah, and good interior passing with 2 perimeter players, Wes Matthews and Eric Bledsoe there. And Matthews, is one of the things you can do against Duncan Robinson is work your way into position. I think that's something that he can do well. And I'm interested in how all these matchups work. This is a very different Bucks team if you think about it practically, replacing Giannis with Di Vincenzo. I mean, they're definitely weaker, but it's interesting.
Yeah, Wes Matthews went to Marquette initially, played 1 year with the Utah Jazz, and then they could not afford him when he signed a restricted free agent offer sheet with the Blazers. And then he became an unrestricted free agent in 2015, even after tearing an Achilles, signed what was then a max contract with the Mavericks, and now came off of that to sign a minimum here. Robinson trying to work off the ball. Backdoor intercepted by Di Vincenzo, who defended him well that possession. Here's Middleton. Goes to the mid-ranger. Yes, Chris Middleton giving Milwaukee a 4-3 lead. How do you feel about this game just overall coming into it, as far as like what % chance you have the Bucks of winning this one?
I'd say like 70-30 seems about fair. I mean, Miami's offense is very good, but Milwaukee still has plenty of talent on that end. I could see it being a little bit of a slog.
Bledsoe attacking Dragic in pick and roll after blocking his jumper on the other end. And there's a 3 in the corner. Di Vincenzo as Robinson lost him. Now Dragic trying to go right back at his former Phoenix teammate. They set up the handoff game here for Robinson out of the corner. Robinson is open. Late contest came from Di Vincenzo. Now here's Bledsoe going at Dragic, trying to draw the foul, and does so. And Brook Lopez loving it. And look how spread out that floor is. And it's funny, maybe the Bucks plan here, which I think is a good one, is almost let Eric Bledsoe be their Giannis in transition, and you don't have a big guy back there protecting the rim if Lopez is spaced out. The other thing I think we can talk about is Bam Adebayo, to me, has not done that much as a help defender in this series. He really has kind of just been sticking to Lopez, who's had a great shooting series in those corners. So let's keep an eye on that matchup and how much Adebayo is going to or able to help. Adebayo again. Dragic, they force him towards the baseline away from the screen. Snakes it into the lane. Nice separation. Bucket. Great job by Goran Dragic using what the defense gave him to get into position that time. Middleton against Crowder, who now has the primary matchup on him. They do not have Jimmy Butler on him, and they use Matthews off the Di Vincenzo screen, but nothing doing. Now Butler, pick and roll with Crowder. They don't switch that. Butler into the lane. Adebayo with his first meaningful touch inside the arc. Di Vincenzo did not switch that early enough. Here's Adebayo going for the hook. Nicely stopped by Matthews, who really has been tough to back into in this series. Late clock, and Butler throws it away.
Yeah, just right at Adebayo's feet. And nice continued pressure by the Bucks there. They did, at one point, they conceded a cross-court pass to Dragic, but Miami couldn't see it.
Yeah, and I thought that this, without Antetokounmpo, would be a little bit more what this series was like. And Game 3 as well for the first three quarters, where Miami was going to struggle to score, but then that disastrous end of Game 3. Posts up Brook Lopez, and whose ball is this?
They called it for the Bucks. They said Butler went off Butler.
Yeah, Lopez had post position, but Butler battled him well. 8 on the clock now. Butler has the primary matchup on Middleton. They get it into Chris Middleton. He'll just shoot it right over Butler. Got a good look. Here's Lopez skying for the board, but his left-handed shot, which he rarely shoots, goes off. Here's Dragic, switched on to way too late by Di Vincenzo. Bucks are not switching these guard actions, so Miami should go back to those pretty often. They can get some advantages. Here's Matthews backdoor, and Crowder intercepts. Bad pass from Di Vincenzo. Now Butler going at Lopez. Tried to draw the foul. Lopez showed his hands. No dice, and it'll be Milwaukee ball.
Yeah, Jimmy Butler just lost that out of bounds, and so that is the third turnover already for Miami, though only one of them was a live ball steal.
Yeah, one of the biggest fundamental aspects of NBA defense today is just show both of your hands when there's any kind of contact on a drive. Nice backdoor. Robinson beaten again. He has struggled to keep up with Wes Matthews here in the early going. But Miami's got to get going on the offensive end. They have not gotten great looks. Here's the late switch. Butler going at Middleton. Lopez a little bit late with the help at Butler with that short mid-ranger. Bledsoe backed way off of. See, I thought Middleton missed a chance to cut to the basket there on that switch. Adebayo, good help that time. Di Vincenzo attacking Robinson. They have 3 guys in the corner, but they somehow get an open shot anyway. Now Dragic, good help comes from Lopez. Down the middle, it's Butler. Into Lopez. No foul call once more.
Looked like good verticality to me.
Here's Bledsoe getting past Dragic. Middleton, Di Vincenzo, quick 3 over Crowder. Nice quick release from Dante Di Vincenzo, and he gives Jay Crowder a little pat on the butt after that contest. Watch Robinson in the near side corner here. No, they want to go Butler instead. Butler on the spin, stripped off his leg. Jimmy Butler has had 4 drives, and 3 of them that haven't even hit the rim.
Yeah, Butler now has 3 turnovers and 2 shot attempts so far in the game.
Yeah, and once more, this is kind of what I thought this series would be like for Jimmy Butler, and great defense starting off here for the Milwaukee Bucks. This is a great time to talk about our sponsor, Bookies.com, the inaugural sponsor of the NBA Cast. That we really appreciate them helping us out, and they can help you out with the best information on sports betting.
Yeah, and I thought I'd run through the picks from their 2 experts, Adam Thompson and Mark Straubman, for Tuesday's action. Thompson picked the Bucks over the Heat with it uncertain whether Giannis was going to play. The Bucks were actually 2.5-point underdogs. That is looking actually quite good right now. And then Strawman did not pick this game, but he picked the Rockets over the Lakers. They're 4.5-point underdogs in the nightcap today. And so you could go to bookies.com/NBA for live odds, those aforementioned expert picks, and you can learn and earn at bookies.com. Now we can answer some of your questions.
Indeed.
Let's see. Oh, that's actually, we can do a live reaction to something. The NBA and NBPA have agreed to push back key dates. We don't know the dates yet for the draft and free agency. Shams Charania just reporting.
Yeah, and I would imagine that they don't know the dates yet either.
Right.
And that much of that will be based on COVID and the associated technology around it, the possibility of having fans.
Right. And the other so there are kind of two big challenges. One is figuring out when they could potentially get fans. And the other one is that the assumption is that the next year's salary cap, luxury tax, all that fun stuff is going to be determined by collective bargaining rather than by previous season's revenue. And it is completely fair that all sides involved, but especially the teams, honestly, want to know that information before the draft so that they can functionally make trades, involving players and all that. I mean, you could think about the TJ Warren trade last year, any number of other things, the Alan Crabb Brooklyn salary dump, like those sorts of things were done pre or in the draft. And the reason why is because that's a great way to use resources. That's an interesting one from Zach Brown. If the Bucks win tonight and Giannis comes back for Game 6, what chance do you give the Bucks?
Oof. I mean, some of it would depend on how it is that they win this game. But if the Heat are really struggling to score against them, and that starts to kind of fit into what my prior was about this series, I also, Giannis coming back does not equal Giannis being Giannis either.
Correct.
So, but I mean, if they kind of, and Giannis, if he's, Hollinger talked about this a little bit, of if he's not 100%, he does kind of like mess things up a little bit for you offensively if he's not really at the same level. But because they just don't have as much spacing, particularly, if they've got Bledsoe and him out there, and Bledsoe can't shoot either. All right, we're back here. Milwaukee, nice lead at 14-7 early. And they control as Bledsoe looking to attack Dragic. They screen Middleton. 2 screens now for Bledsoe. Nice job of the Heat getting through that. Here's Middleton. Creates the space. What a pass underneath to Di Vincenzo, who got past Dragic. Left-handed pass by Chris Middleton. There's that guy in the dunker spot for the Bucks. The guard actually paid off that time.
And that was different now without Giannis on the floor, but it's still not great.
Yeah, yeah, you're right, Danny. It can't work much better without Giannis on the floor because Giannis isn't the guy trying to drive now. Here's another steal by the Bucks. Great defense. Middleton against Crowder. Puts him in the mix. Crowder cut him off beautifully. Middleton still working. This is an exhausting possession. Now Lopez trying to post up. Late clock. Bledsoe, mid-ranger is open. Mid-ranger is off.
And that was a good example of why I've actually liked Jay Crowder better on Middleton than Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler's just had trouble with him.
Yeah, and you also save Butler's energy for offense. But I thought really it was Adebayo also who pushed Lopez out of the post-up area and prevented the pass to him that also short-circuited that possession. And then Adebayo with a nice floater over Lopez. He's had the touch from that mid-range. Pick and pop Middleton underneath and didn't hit anyone. Middleton is saying it did.
No, I'm pretty sure it didn't. He threw a laser and it didn't seem like any heat deflected it.
Yeah, Chris Middleton, though, has had this incisive passing that he's looking for early. Dragic will take a seat. He usually comes back towards the end of the first when Butler sits. They try to have one of those two guys on the floor at all times to be a ball handler. George Hill is in as well. Here's Butler against Matthews. They try to get Robinson, and Connaughton did well to take that away. Adebayo facing up. Nice help from Middleton off of Crowder, and then he throws it away. Great defense from the Bucks. Chris Middleton stepping in, and then Adebayo couldn't find Middleton's man with the pass.
And I think Bam rushed that a little bit. Like, yeah, it's true that the shot clock was running a little bit low and everything else like that, but he didn't know that the player was breaking off of that edge, and it's not like it was creating a clean look for three or anything.
A lot of turnovers early here for the Heat. Connaughton pressured by Robinson, looking to drive, cannot. Now it's Middleton against Butler. They're running these ISOs again. Crowder trying to help off of George Hill. Hill could not get the shot off quickly enough. Now it's Matthews. His drive over Bam Adebayo. Man, that's the first drive to the bucket Wes Matthews had in about 3 years. Now it's Adebayo. And that was a very Giannis-like move from Adebayo. And I think that's an action, particularly with Lopez out of the game, that they should try to go to more, is that semi-transition type of situation. Adebayo on the move, attacking against Marvin Williams, who's a pretty strong player, but if Adebayo gets ahead of steam, I think he can do something less so in the post against Williams.
This is also a very limited defensive rebounding unit for the Bucks. Chris Middleton basically playing power forward, Connaughton at the three. I could see Miami using opportunistic offensive rebounding to get a couple extra possessions here.
Pat Connaughton has a 44-inch vertical. He'll take care of it. Yeah, I think one thing that we saw through most of the first three games was Miami playing harder, getting to the loose balls. The Bucks, really, to me, have been the team playing harder so far. Matthews is going to screen away from Middleton here. Now pick and roll with Hill. They'll just switch that, and they want to get Middleton in the post. Hero fronting, Bam coming over to help. Late clock. They took a long time just to get this matchup. Here's Middleton. Oh, and the over help by Bam left a wide open three. They're lucky he missed that. Now Butler against Marvin Williams, trying to post up Bam. Butler missed him. Instead, he throws it away. Now Hill racing down, but they'll just let it go out of bounds.
Yeah, that's Jimmy Butler's fourth turnover, and they can't give that to Bam. And none of them have, like, some of them have been forced, but none of them have been like incredibly like incisive moves by the Bucks. They've been Jimmy Butler rushing passes, getting a ball knocked off his knee.
And that was exceedingly poor recognition from Butler. I think he wanted to take Marvin Williams, but he had Bam posting up on Wes Matthews right under the rim. Korver is in. They switch onto Middleton, struggling to get it in, but it's Williams now. Heat switching everything on the perimeter. They've actually got Andre Iguodala, I guess you would say, at center now, replacing Bam. No Kelly Olynyk. I would try to save Olynyk for when Lopez is in the game if I were the Heat. Middleton, jab step, bucket in the face of Crowder. And Milwaukee could not have had a better start, particularly on defense. And Iguodala will take a timeout for the Miami Heat, trailing 21-11.
Besides the potential for better shooting, are there any ways the Bucks get better in Giannis's absence? I think that it gives them some more like switchable lineups. Also, it theoretically could put more passing on the floor. It depends on kind of who they play. And that said, Giannis is he does what he does, but sometimes he can get a little bit tunnel vision-y. But it's not like Di Vincenzo is some incisive passer anyway. So yeah, I would say that. And I mean, you and I have, even though they theoretically could run switching systems with Giannis, especially when he's playing center, it seems like they have some more, let's call it versatility in that respect. But no, I mean, they're significantly worse without him.
In a vacuum or on an average team, I always, Ben Taylor taught me this. I usually try to think of it as on a random team rather than on an average team, which is, I think that's kind of what's meant by that question. Butler or Middleton?
Middleton.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I think it really depends what you need, right? If you need someone who gives you a little bit more physicality defensively and playmaking, and then can do more pick and roll handling and get to the foul line, then I think I like Butler. If you already have a number one option, then I think I like Middleton. So I think that well, I don't know. I mean, it's tough.
Here's my thought process. I don't think Jimmy Butler is in my top 15 number one options in the league. And so if you assume a random team, then odds are then that he's, sliding a little bit down in the pecking order. And I just think Butler, especially with his limitation shooting now, I don't think he's necessarily a 24% 3-point shooter for the rest of his career, but I think there's a lot less there. And it's not like Butler is, miles ahead of Middleton as a defensive player or anything like that. I think some of it depends on scheme and what you want. So I think that there are teams where you would want Butler, but I think that's more like 5 to 10 out of 30 rather than more than that. But on those teams, yeah, absolutely, he's more valuable.
Yeah, I mean, I think the worse your team is, the more you would want Butler and the less you would want Middleton, just as a general proposition.
Is Miami being exposed here? How would they fare against the switch-heavy defense? Second part first, I think that they're not particularly well-suited against the switch-heavy defense. It depends on personnel, but Butler's not always the greatest at that, and a lot of their other guys are, they're not best as one-on-one creators. I think that's a limitation there. And are they being exposed? I don't think so. I mean, it's hard to. I mean, some of those turnovers have absolutely been the Bucks, but 6 turnovers in 8 minutes. I think that and a couple of missed shots and some lapses. So this is great play for the Bucks. Full credit to that, but I wouldn't go so extreme of Miami being exposed, at least not yet.
See if we can find another one here.
From Ricky Stewart, who would you see as a realistic coaching upgrade over Bud, who is currently available? I don't see many. That's why
D'Antoni.
Yeah, that's the probably the clearest option. He has made some nice adjustments over the years, and the Bucks already have their defensive scheme, and I don't think they would need to change it too much. I don't think, let's say, Nate McMillan, who I think is a good coach, I don't think he would be better than Budenholzer for the Bucks.
All right, here's Butler. Korver not switching on him. Good job. No advantage gain there. Butler now on the drive. Korver with good help again. Tries to find Iguodala. Hill bothering him. Iguodala inside. And look at these lineups right now. Marvin Williams at center for the Bucks, and he's standing out guarding Jay Crowder the whole time. So it's a bunch of little dudes fighting the battles underneath. 3.7 remaining for Miami. Watch Duncan Robinson here. And Hero coming near side. Middleton just takes it away. Great physicality from Middleton. Tough shot in the corner from Hero. Way short. Bucks doing a great job getting through these screens without switching. Hill tells Williams to go away so they can set up Middleton. Backdoor Hill trying to set up Connaughton in the corner, but Iguodala closes him down. Here's Korver to his left. Intercepted by Butler, and he's going to put this in. Easy dunk as Connaughton. Admirable effort to get back, but to no avail.
And I believe that's Miami's first made shot in the restricted area in this game.
Yeah, Korver, they did a great job. They forced him off the line to his left, forced him to be a playmaker, and he failed in that role. Easy switch given up by Miami. Here's the shot from Middleton over Tyler Hero, a matchup which the Bucks have exploited. Here's Hero, and Hill chucks him.
Yeah, that was a nice read by Jimmy Butler on the slow, low pass by Kyle Korver, and we'll see what Miami can generate offensively. To me, this has been, so far, this advantage is created by great Bucks defense and mediocre, if not worse, Miami offense.
Yeah, but it has been the pattern for Jimmy Butler to be very quiet, look really bad, and then explode late in games in this series. Butler backdoor. Oh, Crowder wasn't even looking. He had him. Now Iguodala looking to attack Korver off the dribble. Goes to a tough fadeaway. That's good defense by Korver, but Iguodala breaking out some old bag of tricks.
His ankle definitely looks better. Was that game 3 that he got hurt? Game 2?
I want to say game 2. Middleton finding Connaughton on the roll. They're having these little guards roll to the basket. Middleton missing the 3. Mike Budenholzer said before the game that he would play a substantial portion of the 48 minutes. Butler looking for Hero off the screen. They don't switch that. Iguodala, three-pointer over Connaughton misses. Williams did well to rebound. Kendrick Nunn has come on for the Heat. This is an extremely small set of lineups out there right now. Korver, Williams on the roll. Connaughton, uh-oh. Oh, no, he's stopped by Nunn. Only 42 inches in the air on that one. Now it's Hero.
And that was a really nice screen by Jay Crowder to spring him, but Hero couldn't hit the shot.
Yeah, and that's what Miami's got to do. They got to just screen better to get these guys open. Middleton against Butler. Williams eludes Crowder, sets up Middleton for the spot-up mid-ranger, and Chris Middleton has been outstanding here in the first.
Well, and a great job by Middleton backing up a couple steps when Butler helped on the drives, then Butler couldn't properly contest.
Hero off the screen, misses it. He has largely struggled the last couple of games, although he did hit that big three late. Here's Korver going to his right as the Heat did not switch quickly enough. That's Crowder who didn't get out there. No real excuse for that. You can't be worried about Korver driving by you. Now pick and roll Butler. Engages Williams. Williams calls out the late switch. Too late. Connaughton, yeah, that's all. Connaughton didn't see it fast enough. Marvin Williams points it out. Connaughton did not get out there when he pointed to go switch, and then Crowder drives by him and gets fouled. Now, fair that Pat Connaughton is not used to switching, right? This is something that we've talked about a lot, the lack of versatility to the Bucks scheme.
And these are the third and fourth free throws for the Miami Heat in this game. Bam had 2 earlier. Milwaukee also has 4. Bucks 4 of 8 from 3. Miami 1 of 6 from 3.
Lopez is back. And yes, as we anticipated, this to me a little bit is Spo outcoaching Mike Budenholzer. And now Budenholzer, it's not like he can determine, hey, if I put Brook Lopez in, you're not allowed to put Kelly Olynyk in. But based on the rotation, he's bringing Lopez back in right when they would bring Olynyk back in. And now watch. The other thing, too, is I think that Brook Lopez should be guarding Andre Iguodala here, not Kelly Olynyk, because Olynyk has killed Brook Lopez in this series with his shooting. And then Lopez also, his rim protection is muted, having to guard him. Late clock, quick pick and pop. Nice job by Olynyk getting out of that. Korver, they do not get the 2-for-1. Hill looking to attack Hero along the baseline. Back out. Bledsoe. Quick release on the late clock 3. Now it's Hill and Di Vincenzo both in the game. They may get like 3 offensive rebounds, but never get a layup because they're both trying to stand right under the rim. They're the 2 guys who love doing that for this Bucks team.
And that was great hustle by Eric Bledsoe. He bricks the 3, but gets back in time to deflect the pass that could have led to an open Miami bucket.
This is a good sub here by Bud. And for Spo as well, getting Duncan Robinson back in, but Korver out, Wes Matthews in.
And here I think teams should shoot this a little earlier, maybe like 5-6 seconds on the shot clock, because give yourself a chance at an offensive rebound and prevent the other team from getting anything good. Maybe they can get a half-court heave instead of a 3/4 court heave.
So they actually take out Brook Lopez, in theory, to go small and switch everything here at the end of the clock. Dragic is back. Bledsoe cuts him off. Here's the screen. They should switch this. They do. Dragic attacking Wes Matthews. Tries to get the space. Tough fader. Scores. Great shot there by Bledsoe. And again, though, you see the inexperience with the Bucks switching, right? Like Wes Matthews, if you're going to switch that, he needs to be all the way up at the level of the ball so that Dragic can't get ahead of steam at him. And while Matthews kind of cut him off initially, he never fully recovered, and Dragic hit that jumper eventually.
First quarter stats, 28-19 in favor of the Milwaukee Bucks. The top 3 scores in the game are all on Milwaukee due to kind of even scoring from Miami. Middleton at 9, Di Vincenzo at 8, Wes Matthews at 6. No one on Miami has more than Jay Crowder's 5. Miami 10 of 19 from the field, 4 of 9 from 3. Sorry, this is Milwaukee. 4 of 9 from 3, 4 of 4 from the line. Miami 7 of 18, 1 of 6, and 4 of 4.
Yeah, that's that shot chart. Always something to watch here. Neither team doing anything at the rim, as you mentioned. And so now if this turns into a 3-point shooting battle, then you would say that that's advantage Heat. Obviously, the Bucks have hit more early on, but only 6 3-point attempts for Miami and only 4 shots at the rim. Now, a big part of that is because they're kicking the ball all over the gym.
Interesting question from Peter Wiggin. Are you ever uncomfortable with the way NBA media discusses player intelligence? Well, My hope is typically, and I'm not saying this is universally true because it isn't, that it's more referring to basketball intelligence and instincts and things more in that line rather than like book smarts, because there are plenty of players who are good at one and bad at another. But the ability for a player to execute the scouting report and know an opponent's strengths and weaknesses, whether that's through preparation or experience, that is extremely important. Now, I would be very uncomfortable for those who use shorthands there, whether for various things, whether it's like where somebody's from or the color of their skin. But there is an element of that you have to discuss if you're going to talk about it, because like, let's say LeBron James basketball IQ is off the charts, and to properly discuss him, or let's say his teammate JaVale McGee, whose basketball intelligence is not off the charts. You need to have something of that terminology. You could use different words, but it's the same concept.
Yeah, and sometimes there are players like Harrison Barnes would be one where, and I don't think he necessarily makes mental mistakes as far as like executing the scheme, but just his feel for the game, despite being an extremely intelligent man, is not ever really been that high. So there's certainly not necessarily a one-to-one correlation between being smart on the basketball court and being traditionally smart, like we would talk about in life. And I generally try to stay away from discussion of the latter and limit my discussion of what's happening on the court. And I feel comfortable as long as the discussion is limited in that way.
Oh, so apparently, according to Ricky Stewart, it was announced that Daniel House is out for a night. How does that change the rotation? That's a huge loss because Daniel House has really outplayed Ben McLemore and Austin Rivers so far in the playoffs, and now presumably those guys are going to get the minutes. You can't really give that many more to Houston's starting five. So that's worse defense. In certain cases, less reliable shooting, depending on whether it's Austin Rivers or McLemore. That's a big loss.
All right, we're back here, and we'll see whether that Olynyk and Brook Lopez matchup resumes. I also think that Brook Lopez could be very effective in the post against Olynyk if they run into any dry spells.
Oh, I can do this quickly. Somebody asked Di Vincenzo ceiling starter. Oh, he could absolutely be a starter.
Little Iverson cut for Bledsoe, setting up the handoff to Di Vincenzo. Bledsoe was open, did not take it. He wants to go at none instead. Goes for the little floater, and you saw that there is very limited help available at the rim. Iguodala was engaged with Lopez and never really came over. And that's one also where if you're Eric Spoelstra, you want Kendrick Nunn to close out short to Eric Bledsoe and force him to take the jumper. Now, sometimes that's easier said than done because Bledsoe can still attack and get ahead of steam and go past you. But generally, you want to encourage Bledsoe to take the three-pointer.
Absolutely. And his jump shot has been really rough throughout since he returned basically and entered the bubble after COVID-19.
I do think this is a situation where Eric Bledsoe can play better.
Agreed.
Because, I think a lot of his issues are confidence and not really getting the same on-ball reps that he got in Phoenix. There's a nice deep post-up, and they're going to get Di Vincenzo for the foul. Olynyk actually is an excellent post-up man against switches, not against guys his size, but he's got like a little like mini Jokic to his game and the ability to use his body and spin off of smaller players with a nice touch around the basket.
Well, and one of the things that I really like about Olynyk in those circumstances is that he works quickly. Because that's sometimes when you don't allow the guy to brace up. It's a huge advantage. Jokic is spectacular at that.
Here's Iguodala screening. Good help comes from Middleton off of Olynyk, and yes, now it's Lopez on Dragic. How did they get caught in that matchup? Yeah, they do have Lopez on Iguodala, so they went to the late switch. And Lopez did not get out on Dragic in time. But that is the right matchup for Bud with Lopez on Iguodala, and they've got a smaller player on Olynyk. I think it's Middleton. Iguodala now guarding Chris Middleton. Pick and pop Korver. He's going to drive it. Extends for the layup attempt. Good job running him off the line. Now Olynyk in transition. Draws the defense, and that's a great play as Korver went flying and never got back in the play on the other end. That's a great play by Olynyk. He's not going to drive all the way to the rim and kill you, but as Bledsoe with a tough fader over Nunn, He's not going to get all the way to the rim and kill you, but just dribble up there enough to draw some attention and then pass it to somebody else. Like, Giannis could actually do more of that, frankly.
Well, and Olynyk looked back to make sure that Korver wasn't recovering into the play.
Here's Dragic eluding Di Vincenzo, a little bit short, and Dragic saves it off the foot of, I think that was Lopez.
Well, and what was funny was both Dragic and Korver reacted late to Dragic's miss. So if Korver reacted slightly earlier, then he gets the ball, and there would have probably been a pretty quick, fast break the other way.
Pat Connaughton returns to replace Korver after the flubbed layup. Now it's Nunn getting wide open, and better screen set that time by the Miami Heat to get Nunn open. Connaughton, fresh into the game, could not get through him. Here's Bledsoe looking to attack. Another. Look at these Bucks guards. They're always rolling to the rim in these pick and rolls. Middleton against Iguodala along the baseline, has to loop it out. Bledsoe recovers. He'll drive. And what are we going to get here? Nothing except the tip-in by Brook Lopez. Nice pass.
And not everything where somebody hits the ground has to be a foul.
I kind of have an idea for you here, Danny. You got other shooters on the floor. As Olynyk, again, hits a big three-pointer. Middleton just could not get through the traffic to get out, and that was not good defense by him. How about a Eric Bledsoe, Brook Lopez pick and roll? Going at Kelly Olynyk.
Revolutionary.
Like they're not going to switch that. They got enough shooting on the floor, right? Like the whole Lopez in the corner, the reason you have that is because Giannis is in the game. Here's Nunn blowing the right-handed layup. Recovered by Connaughton. This has gotten ragged. Lopez running the floor. Get it to him in the post. No, they're going to call timeout. And Brook Lopez is like, I just sprinted the floor to get wide open in the post. Throw it to me.
Not only did Lopez sprint the floor, they had a 5-on-4. Nunn missed the layup and wasn't back in the play when the timeout was called.
Yeah, so I don't understand why a pick and pop or a pick and roll with Lopez. Instead, they're running pick and roll with like Dante Di Vincenzo as the roll man, and it's not like, oh man, we got to get Kelly Olynyk away from the basket. He's such a good help defender. It's not like it's Bam guarding him right now. So I really don't care for this approach that much.
Yeah, I agree with you. How can Miami improve its rotation here? Less Nunn, less Iguodala. Less Nunn, I think, is definitely something they could do. Iguodala, it's a little bit more circumstance dependent. But I think Miami's rotations are pretty reasonable. I think there are certain times we've seen less of this since I think that was game one, that Spo has played those really limited shooting lineups. That's one weakness that he can have. Sometimes it's like these, oh, let's put all the smart defenders on, but those lineups have real trouble offensively. But no, I think the rotations are pretty close. I think too much Nunn. From Benmar 4, could Giannis being out force Budenholzer to make adjustments that could help him be a better coach moving forward? Will he ever consistently make adjustments when needed in the playoffs? I don't like saying, never say never, but Budenholzer has had a lot of success. He's also had some real pressure to make adjustments and has generally been exceedingly reluctant to do so. So, I mean, I would be very surprised to see him fundamentally change his stripes in terms of his overall philosophy. Yeah, he'll try more things right now because he has the opportunity. But in terms of his overall coaching thesis, no, I would be very surprised if this was the impetus to really changing that.
Yeah, and there's no one in the Bucks organization. Like, Bud is easily the most powerful non-ownership figure in the Bucks organization as far as I know. And so there's no one I think that can encourage him to change. Really, I think he's going to do what he's going to do.
From CJN, shocked you did this game and not Lakers Rockets. Nate and I have another commitment during that game, so we're not able to do it. Of course, we will record on both games for Dunked on Prime.
Yeah, we have our fantasy draft.
I was being, I don't know, I guess you could call it coy.
Hey,
yeah.
I mean, we're honesty is the best policy in most situations.
We're human beings. Yeah. Yeah. So Nate and I are in a fantasy league together, and our auction is tonight. Let's see. In a redraft, where do you draft Hero going just off of this season in the playoffs? Well, I mean, you can look at everything, like where their careers are going. I think he'd go pretty high. I've been more impressed with Hero's on-ball game than I expected. He was a guy that I didn't get to watch film of beforehand. Let me look quickly at the 2019 NBA draft.
Yeah.
And we're close enough to back that I might not be able to do it now. He'd
Yeah.
definitely go higher. Over Cam Reddish? Yeah, probably. I think I take Reddish has a hot, like the positional size is so nice, but Hero's a better player right now.
I'd forgotten that 94 Nuggets team, after first coming down from 2-0 to upset Seattle in the 1-8, then came down from 3-0 to force a Game 7 against the Jazz.
And then lost that Game 7, correct?
Yeah, but still, like, I mean,
That's
imagine
crazy.
what you would have been thinking at the time of, like, oh my God, is this going to happen again? It's like Iguodala. Ooh, that is a bad place to get a knee, like on the side of your calf muscle right there. That's quite painful. I've had that one before. Middleton posting up on Iguodala. Iguodala gets the strip, and I do not think that Chris Middleton has much of a chance, and Andre Iguodala, as he's shaking his head, doesn't think that he does either. If they're going to try and ISO him and Andre Iguodala, it's not going to work. They got to get him off of him or some other kind of an action. Lopez across the lane, got a good look. Di Vincenzo, offensive glass, rejected by Olynyk, and it'll stay right here, though, with
And
12 to shoot.
something that frustrated me, there was a good dig there by Tyler Hero on Brook Lopez as he was posting up, but then he gave up on it before actually doing anything and forced Brook Lopez to make that pass. He's not an intuitive passer in those situations.
Middleton gets off the screen this time. Way short, though. Good help from, I think that was Olynyk getting out there contesting, and then he runs the floor. Once again, the big man contesting the jump shooter and running the floor, and now Miami has tied it, and Kelly Olynyk has been a big reason why. Here's Bledsoe. They do go to that pick and roll, and they're going to get a foul here as they came off of Di Vincenzo in the corner. Dragic reached in on Bledsoe, but good to see that. That's a nice move there from Bud to actually say, hey, we're going to try to get Lopez involved more here. First they went to the post up, and then that Bledsoe-Lopez pick and roll, which I think they should continue with if they're not going to switch that. That looked pretty clean, though, huh?
It did.
Lopez as they double team, and we're going to get a blocking foul here on Hero. They want to say it's a goaltend. Oh, yeah,
I think
absolutely.
it was a goaltend.
They rarely call that when there's a foul first for whatever reason, but that should have been a goaltend.
They're calling it. And Tyler Hero was in position there. I mean, he would have probably taken it more in the shoulder than in the chest, but he tried to lean over. To me, in that circumstance, if you lean, you're more likely to get the call against you than if you just take it not in your chest because of the way the refs call it right now.
Butler returning after a nice rest. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it's just like with a lean, especially if there's a ref on the baseline, it's just so easy for them to see that it's a clear block, as opposed to the other way where it's more of a judgment call.
Bledsoe out, Matthews in to match up with Butler. It seems like they are trying to have Wes Matthews guard Butler for every second. I could have told him to do that about halfway through game one, but good to see they're doing it now.
Well, and a good stat from the broadcast, Milwaukee has not attempted a three in the second quarter.
They lead it by 2, and a technical foul has been called on Spoelstra, and I'm not sure what he's upset about here. It can't have been that goaltend because that was one of the most obvious goaltends we've seen in years.
I mean,
I think it was they're zoomed in on
Dragic.
Dragic, so maybe it was that strip from a couple of possessions ago. Sorry, what were you saying?
Oh, don't worry about it. Let me see if the box score has anything specific on it. Oh, so the tech was on Dragic, not on Spell.
Yeah, so it probably was that strip, I would guess. Hero at the elbow. None off the screen. Getting past Connaughton along the baseline. Easy layup. And Lopez and Middleton talking there. But there was really Olynyk who forced Middleton away from any kind of help position. Pick and roll. Middleton and Lopez. Lost it. Iguodala controls. Looking to push it. Finding Butler. Matthews tries for the charge. Good no call. Instead, it's none. No, that pass was airmailed by Hero.
Yeah, that was, and also very nearly a passing crash, which would have been Butler's, I believe, his 5th turnover in this game. But I hate the passing crash, so a no call there is fine.
Bucks continuing to shuttle their perimeter guys in and out. And now Butler has the matchup as Bam is back in, Iguodala out. Di Vincenzo off the screen. Hero gets through it. Now Di Vincenzo attacks. Stripped away. Nunn has played better defensively, but the Bucks did a great job getting back. Now Butler setting the screen. Nunn goes for the mid-ranger. Way short, though. Not the shot that I would want there.
Yeah, and Kendrick Nunn did like that was really where his bread was buttered this year, is making a really high amount of mid-rangers, but still not a good shot.
Di Vincenzo, a little off on the three.
Good hustle by Nunn on the rebound, though.
That's another one of those quick Bucks threes that I'm not entirely in favor of. As Butler, they go under on Jimmy Butler. Middleton tried to call out George Hill on the switch. He did not get there. Miami surging back in front. Lopez looking to post up. Then George Hill just runs right next to Brook Lopez and gives Kelly Olynyk time to get out in front. Now Middleton, nice drive. Crossed over and got into the lane on Butler. Yeah, I think Chris Middleton's actually done pretty well against Butler. Nunn, now in the post, Olynyk. Goes to those quick spins. Nice help coming. Here's Bam for the layup. Blew it. He gets stripped. Olynyk recovers. Takes the three. Yeah, that was... Olynyk has improved the versatility of his jumper, but that's tough, dribbling back out to the three-point line and turning around like that. Middleton against Bam, and Lopez goes away. Now they want to involve him on the screen. Nice. I like that play right there. Lopez missed it, but to basically almost have the guy with the ball handler set the screen for Lopez. Handoff, Nunn. It's been a lot of Nunn lately. Butler attacking Matthews, and Hero got right past Di Vincenzo. Not good enough from Dante Di Vincenzo.
Was that a Pat Connaughton tribute flyby?
Yeah, I mean, he and credit Hero for moving when Di Vincenzo tried to go to the nail to prevent the drive. That is kind of the Bucks scheme a little bit. Lopez, high release over Olynyk. Can't get that. And unclear what just happened there because the camera angle sucked.
I think they called a foul on Di Vincenzo there, actually.
Yeah, he's as surprised as you are.
Well, I think he kind of fell behind Bam.
Yeah, I think that's a foul as the guy's coming down.
Well, and also you run into the problem of, if you want to talk about like the balance of justice, that if you didn't call a foul there, it would have been out of bounds on the Heat, and that's not a reasonable result there. So yeah, it's more of a foul than it is an out of bounds for the Bucks.
Miami, 3-point advantage. Bucks really struggling to score. Good defense by Matthews pushing Butler further out on the floor. They try to go under. Bam tries to set the screen, but they'll just switch Marvin Williams on. Nunn on the drive. Matthews stepping up. That should have been a blocking foul too, as Nunn scores.
Yeah, Nunn's looked a lot better to me.
Yeah, he looks a little more explosive. Here's Marvin Williams, run down by Hero, trying to back him down. Goes to the floater, not there.
I liked how aggressive and deliberate that was by Marvin Williams. It just didn't produce a bucket.
Bam trying to post up on Matthews. Olynyk trying to draw the foul. Oh, they're going to give it to him.
I mean, he jumped forward. That's the rule.
Yep, I mean, that is a foul. They should not review this because they're going to lose the challenge. Watch this. Middleton. Yeah, I mean, he's still moving forward in the air. I mean, all Olynyk has to do is just jump forward enough. Yes, you would not normally jump forward 7 feet while taking a three-pointer, but once you get the guy in the air, you can do that, and you get a foul call, which is dumb.
Yeah, and I mean, you and I talk about this a fair amount, but it's so important to repeat. Sometimes it's an interpretation that's the problem. Sometimes it's a rule that's the problem. This time it's the rule that's the problem. I mean, you give players too much of an incentive to do a completely unnatural thing, and full-on credit to Kelly Olynyk. Got the guy in the air, jumped a mile forward into him.
And part of my issue with it is, like, if you fool a guy with a pump fake, you should be able to get an advantage already, right? Like you can drive by him. Now, if you're picking up your dribble, that's a little different. Here's Bledsoe. They want to screen away from Middleton here. They make zero contact on that screen, but Bledsoe picks up a foul on none anyway. Yeah, these cross screens for Milwaukee have not been particularly effective in terms of actually making contact, as we're looking at a little bit of a danger time now for Milwaukee. Bledsoe getting to the foul line to try and quell this run. Right now it's 26-9 in this quarter for Miami.
Oh, and this is potentially significant. I had missed this because it was just people tweeting it at us, that Daniel House is out for what are personal reasons, but that it is not COVID related. So that might mean it's more of, well, my instinct when I hear that is that it might be longer than a 1-game absence.
One would think so, because the minimum amount of time he can quarantine once he returns is 4 days.
Yeah, so we don't know. I haven't heard yet if House has left the bubble, but that's definitely a concern.
Trying to keep Hero from using the screen. They can't. He'll drive. And nice play by Eric Bledsoe, who really did two things on that. That was awesome. He got in front of Bam so that Bam wasn't open on the roll, and then he knew that the pass was going to the corner, left Bam, and intercepted. Bam posting up on Marvin Williams. I don't think there's a huge advantage matchup out of the post, but Bam moved right by him, got a great look, and just blew it. Now it's Bledsoe, a million miles an hour. I love him pushing the ball. Here's Matthews into Butler for the blocking foul. Yeah, and that's one where if you're Jimmy Butler, just contest him. Wes Matthews isn't some explosive athlete. If you could just stay vertical and contest him, you're fine. He tried to draw the charge instead, and now it's 2 free throws.
Oh, so we got a question. I'll just do this very quickly from DC42. One of the Dunked on Prime members having trouble with the Discord. What you do there is email dunkedonprime@gmail.com and let them know the problem, and they should be able to help you out. Ben is on that. I already let him know to be looking for the email. I just wanted to do that before I forgot.
Yeah, so I mean, it's weird. Like I clicked the button on "Don't let this link ever expire," and people are like, "The link is expired." The one problem you might be having is maybe just like the browser cache or something. Anyway, that's boring to people. Let's go back to the game with Crowder, who has not been as featured here early. Bledsoe has been really good in transition. Marvin Williams, 3-pointer, bucket. Marvin Williams, Milwaukee,
That's
right
a
back.
big shot.
Yeah, and I really credit Eric Bledsoe. Again, this is a chance for him to just feel more comfortable, know that he's going to be out there, know that he's going to be featured, that he's not going to lose his offensive role with a couple of mistakes, and get back to being the player that he was more comfortable being in Phoenix. Bledsoe coming in to knock it away. Butler recovers, goes up over Marvin Williams for the bucket. I'm sorry, that was actually over Bledsoe. Now Middleton against Crowder, putting him in the mix, loses it.
And that is Middleton's 3rd turnover of the game. That actually ties it with Jimmy Butler, even though I think one of Butler's was misapplied.
Yeah, I think early pick and rolls for Middleton going at Hero or Dragic before the defense is set. I'd like to see that. Butler, man, Matthews gets through that screen and completely cuts him off. Bam has to run back to it. He'll take the mid-ranger over Williams. Adebayo.
He's been drilling that shot in this series.
I mean, that's really been a key shot for them at times. Back to a 7-point advantage. Bud calls out the play. Holds up one finger. That means he wants, I think, the one man to go, or they want to go after the one with Bledsoe. Here's the drive. Bledsoe misses that. Now it's Adebayo against Williams, pressured up. And he walked. Good defense that time from Williams. Yeah, so you saw the play call from Bud holding up one finger. That usually means not whoever is playing the one for Milwaukee, but whoever the one is guarding for Miami, that's who goes and sets the screen. I guess they had classified Hero as the one. Maybe he wanted Dragic, who knows? But that's what they ran, and Bledsoe got a good look. He just couldn't get it. But if you would like to get some money from betting, you're going to need a little bit of information on that, and that's where our friends at bookies.com come in.
Absolutely. And it really is about information. You can, if you're over 21, go to bookies.com/NBA for the latest live odds, expert picks, and the best online sign-up deals. So you can click through. It's really convenient. It's all on one page. They have this really easy to use interface. And whether you're betting spreads, money lines, totals, or parlays, it's really all there that you're looking for. And Nate and I, our brains don't necessarily go in that direction, but yours hopefully do. And so you can do that through bookies.com. And you can also follow them at Bookies on Twitter.
Yeah, we'll tell you about what the halftime line is when we get back from our little halftime break. Should the Heat be trying to deny Middleton the jumper and force him inside? I think so, although against some of these mid-range artists, that's a little easier said than done, because once they've got a shoulder past you, now you do have to compete to get back in front of them. And once you do that, they can just stop, you fly by, and they get their mid-range jumper. But yeah, certainly you want to play him for the jumper to the extent possible. It's just sometimes it's easier said than done.
Do the Bucks have the pieces to make a trade that impacts them positively enough to make them a championship contender with Bud still at home? I mean, I think they're a championship contender right now. Now they've been uninspiring over the first, 3 games of this series and for part of the fourth as well. But they're in that. I mean, I had them as a top-tier championship contender all year. But yeah, I mean, that was something Nate and I lamented, was when they let Brogdon go and got a first-round pick for their trouble, they didn't turn that first-round pick into something that could help them this year. They could still do that, but it's harder to do in terms of right now. Once it turns into a player, it's a little bit more difficult. Obviously can't help them this season. But they're a championship contender now, and there are ways that they can get better. And I think the passage of time in the next year or two probably helps Milwaukee. They have a lot of young players that can get a little bit better, and then their older players, I don't think they're going to drop down as much. So I think that's a pretty thorough summary of it.
Yeah, the idea, I think it was on the Hoop Collective podcast with Brian Windhorst, where Chris Paul to Milwaukee was something that was discussed. Obviously, Bledsoe would have to be in that deal. Probably George Hill also, and then Robin Lopez, and now but the Bucks almost certainly would have to take on significant money in such a deal. And keep in mind too that if Giannis were to return on the Supermax, they would still have Chris Paul, and 2 guys making over $40 million is probably not something this ownership group wants to pay.
Well, especially with Middleton and Brook Lopez still on the team. Like, that would be a hilariously expensive team.
Yeah, I mean, Middleton will be up there in the mid-30s by that point as well.
Right.
So critical 2:12 left here. Milwaukee's offense has ground to a halt in this period. They are not getting the open threes. Here's Bledsoe guarded by Butler. They want to go at Dragic. Bledsoe on the drive, and I think he just lost it.
Yeah, they're giving this ball to Miami. I didn't see much there, so I'm going to assume that Bledsoe lost it.
Yeah, I think Butler swiped it down off of the thigh of Bledsoe. Refs talking about it now.
Are they in?
Yeah, stay here is the ruling.
Oh, I'll wait until the next stoppage to talk about this. I have a big picture idea to discuss.
Bledsoe getting it in to Matthews, posting up on Hero. Double team coming from Crowder. He leaves. Matthews going right through Hero. Wes Matthews, in his younger days before the Achilles, was a solid post option for Portland, and he just bullied Tyler Hero on that one. Hero into Adebayo. They want to run some cuts here. They're not getting much. Here's Crowder. Williams getting through the screen reasonably well. Crowder tried to draw the foul, could not. Everyone stopped thinking there was a foul. Now they hand back to Hero. Crowder on the pick and pop. Hero gets through it. Nice. That's a great play by Hero, but they couldn't make him pay, and Bam tips it out. Another three-point attempt. Another miss. Lopez rebounds in a crowd. Looks like Matthews might have got hit below the belt. Hill, pick and roll. No, he'll just take the deep three. Not a good decision.
Yeah, really short.
Now it's Adebayo. Dragic leaving it for Adebayo. Lopez did well to get back. Now Hill on the loose ball. Eluding Tyler Hero. If that was Chris Paul, he would have just ran into Tyler Hero for the foul. Instead, it's Lopez underneath, fighting against Bam. Knocks him out of the way for the jam.
Beast! What a play by Brook Lopez, just knocking Bam Adebayo out of the way.
Splash Mountain lives. Heat not really looking with much urgency for the 2-for-1. Yeah, why are they going so slow here? Oh, now because Dragic can get wide open is why, and he hits the three.
And they get the 2-for-1 anyway, and Milwaukee's not gonna be able to get their own.
Well, and I don't like that recognition. You got to know with the 2-for-1 that he's going to take that pull up and maybe change up a little bit defensively. Lopez, he's not passing the ball in that situation, and then Butler. Sometimes I really just loathe the game of Jimmy Butler. Although I will say that was a clear foul, so never mind.
And that is so that's Milwaukee's fourth foul. I believe that's their first in the last 2 minutes. So this actually probably doesn't move the needle much, and it's Lopez's first. So I don't think that results in free throws. I think it's just frustrating. Oh, and it allows for subs. That's actually another important thing.
Yeah, Robinson is in. I'm a little skeptical. The one thing I've disagreed with a little bit from Spo is playing Hero over Robinson. It doesn't matter as much in this series, but I actually think Robinson has been better than Hero defensively as a help guy and with his size. And the Bucks don't have anyone who's going to challenge him with quickness, really. All right, let's see what happens here. They want to involve Lopez in pick and roll again. Let's see if they adjust it a little bit. No, they don't, but it doesn't matter as Bledsoe, good pressure, drew the foul on Bam. And yes, that was Bam tried to move the angle of the screen to take away Bledsoe going under. Yeah, great call. And Bledsoe forced that.
And Adebayo also had wider legs there, which can be another key for officials in terms of calling an illegal screen.
Offense, defense subs. Iguodala is in. Bledsoe has time. 3 seconds. Going at Butler. Stepping back. 3-pointer. Rims out. Bucks could have used that one, but instead they will trail by 6 going into what could be the last half of their season.
So as has become commonplace for us, we're going to take about a 10-minute break. You can take one alongside us, and then we'll be back. I would recommend not asking a ton of questions right now. We will maybe get to some during when we return from the stoppage, but we'll also talk about our big picture preview of the second half.
Welcome back to the NBA cast presented by bookies.com. Heat 52, Bucks 46. And what did you want to hit on, Danny, in the big picture? I know you alluded to that before we took our break.
So in the first half, we saw Milwaukee go out to a 9-point lead. It was 28-19 in the first quarter and 33-18 in the second. And I think both of those are kind of too extreme one way or the other. But I think one of the, like, if I were to say which of those is closer to the reality where these two teams are not, these two iterations of the team are on the floor. Unfortunately for the Bucks, I would say it's probably the second quarter, especially because those turnovers calmed down and those seemed a little bit unsustainable. So I wanted to see what your opinion was on that, about like kind of which quarter seemed more sustainable to you.
Yeah, I did think that the Bucks really lost the thread in the second with the Heat getting a lot more in the paint and Bucks starting to get some turnovers. They're not really a great shooting team right now. Miami is shooting better than them. That's part of the problem. So the Bucks have just got to get back to the level of defense that they had in the first. And I thought, really a lot of their defense at the rim, like Nunn getting some penetration. I thought he had some nice plays. Just the overall help defense from the Bucks was not good enough in that second. And so that was hurt, of course, by their turnovers as well. So they're going to have to defend a lot better. I thought Chris Middleton really struggled to defend in that. So I'm that's what I want to see, them funneling stuff into Lopez at the rim and then trying to run shooters off the line. They did a great job getting through screens in the first quarter. They didn't do as good a job of that in the second quarter. So it's really going to just come down to that nuts and bolts execution defensively to make this a game for Milwaukee. Let's take a look here at some of the stuff from bookies.com for this game. How are the picks of Strootman and Adam Thompson looking right now, Danny?
So Adam Thompson's the only one with a pick on this game. He picked the Bucks over the Heat. That looked great after one quarter. Less great now, but absolutely still a chance of it going. And Mark Strootman didn't pick this one, though he did pick Rockets over Lakers in the nightcap. Oh, actually, sorry, I'm wrong. Strootman picked Heat over Bucks. It was listed as the second pick. So Heat over Bucks, but interestingly, he got it as an 11.5 spread. I think he probably got that after Giannis was ruled out.
Yeah, and bookies.com, in addition to their info, they got great betting deals on legal betting in your state. They got a deposit $250, get $250 in free bets from PointsBet using the code BookiesNJ, for example. All right, we are back here, and the Bucks have first possession. Back to their starting group. Matthews going to screen away for Middleton. No, he tries to slip it. That wasn't there at all. Duncan Robinson was all over it. But then they get Di Vincenzo on the slip, and he blew the layup, though. Nice job getting inside position on Di Vincenzo off the switch, but he couldn't get it. And I think is that going to be a free throws, though? Yeah, it is.
Yes, it is. Yeah, they called a late shooting foul on Duncan Robinson.
And a correct one.
Yeah, looks like you got him.
Yeah, nice play there out of the timeout. And you'll see this a lot of times with teams that don't go against switching defenses a lot. The coach can call up a play out of the timeout. They had two options on that. First, it was Matthews on the weak side trying to slip it to go backdoor, and then it was Di Vincenzo. So they'll run these actions where you set it up in the huddle beforehand, but then can you sustain those actions against a switching defense when you don't have the play being called in the huddle every time? Very, very difficult to do that. They're going to screen for Robinson here. Good job by Di Vincenzo preventing him from using the screen. Now they bring him across. Di Vincenzo denied him again. That was awesome. Now it's Crowder. Run off the line a little bit by Lopez. His three goes down. Jay Crowder had some misses in the second, but makes him pay there, and it's a 7-point advantage for Miami. Bledsoe off the screen, controlling in the paint. Now it's Di Vincenzo taking the three off the quick switch. That goes down for Dante Di Vincenzo. Big shot there. Another action that's always going to be there against a switching defense, that deep three. Now it's Bam. Not looking to take that mid-ranger that he's hit. They run into some of their handoff game. Here's Robinson. Good job by Di Vincenzo running him off. Robinson stepping in for 2-point range. A rare 2-point jumper for Duncan Robinson.
And a little bit more versatility on that shot by Duncan Robinson. 2 dribbles in and then a pull-up.
Screening here for Matthews up to the top. He'll turn the corner on Robinson right down the lane. Wes Matthews has been more aggressive.
And remember these two early fouls, they were both shooting fouls, and now that gets the Bucks closer to the bonus. And the free throw disparity, I think it's 15-7 before these free throws. In favor of the Bucks, sorry.
Matthews gets the first free throw. I started giving the summary of his career earlier. After time in Dallas, he was then involved in the Kristaps Porzingis trade to match a bunch of salary, was bought out by the Knicks, and then signed with Indiana last year to be their starting shooting guard and get a fair amount of money as well. Would have been interesting if he had signed with Milwaukee instead on the buyout market. Di Vincenzo feeling it, but he'll take a few bad ones every once in a while too. Pick and roll, Butler Adebayo. Matthews gets through it. Done a great job on Jimmy Butler. Nowhere to go. Now they get into the handoff game. It's Robinson. Di Vincenzo is there again. Brook Lopez doing a nice job of stepping out really quickly and then getting back to his man, just giving enough time to recover. But now I think we're going to get Di Vincenzo on a hold on Robinson. Yeah, he grabbed his left arm. Good call.
Yeah, and Di Vincenzo, we saw it more in the matchup with Tower Hero, but he can be a little foul happy at times, especially when the other guy has some sort of advantage.
Adebayo again. They want to run this handoff action. Di Vincenzo takes it away. Once more, great defense. Butler into the lane, back out. Dragic getting past Bledsoe. No, they're going to get a shot clock violation. Bledsoe flew at him.
Yeah, Bledsoe contested that hard. I don't know if he kind of knew the situation and did it, or just was contesting really hard anyway, but that forced a shot clock violation because Dragic didn't want to get it blocked.
And the Milwaukee is clearly becoming more comfortable with how Miami plays on a game-to-game basis now. All this handoff action, really, you've seen a lot of it going completely nowhere as Bledsoe goes right through Jimmy Butler, and that action with Chris Middleton was just designed as a fake to get the help out of the way so Bledsoe could attack one-on-one. Now here's the steal by Middleton off the baseline drive. Middleton, Euro steps on Crowder. Oh, Di Vincenzo sprinted the floor and got the big dunk.
And so this is a 10-5 run for Milwaukee at the start of the quarter to give them only a 1-point deficit.
Dragic, who has not particularly gotten going. He wants to get it with Bam. They're going to screen away for Crowder here. Dragic contested from behind the screen by Bledsoe and missed it. Milwaukee looking for the lead. Bledsoe goes to the pull-up jump over Dragic. Not a good shot. Yeah, there's just 4 or 5 of those kind of just wasted possessions for Milwaukee, it seems like. Now Lopez too late getting out that time, but Robinson going to his left, not as good as going to his right. Bledsoe against Adebayo. He'll take a 3. Does not hit the 3.
Speaking of wasted possessions.
Now it's Crowder. Oh, what a block by Wes Matthews. Wes Matthews was exhausted, and he pointed out that someone should go guard Crowder. No one did, so he just went and blocked his jumper instead.
Yeah, and having him for the minimum has been such a luxury for the Bucks. I'm very interested in what happens with Matthews' free agency because since his contract is so cheap this year, it'd be very difficult for the Bucks to retain him at a fair market value.
Yeah, we'll see. It's going to be a weird free agent market. He does have a player option for next year at the minimum. Di Vincenzo denying Robinson again. They want to set up a double screen for Robinson. Again, they stop that. Bledsoe intercepts off the Butler drive. Matthews
Butler had a
pushing
left-handed layup there.
And Bledsoe almost lost it. Saves it, however. Always a car crash imminent with Bledsoe as Middleton misses his three-pointer. So Milwaukee, what is this? Their 4th attempt to take the lead that they've failed on?
And I was egregious. I was incredulous there because Jimmy Butler, he didn't have a clear path to his right hand, but he had a lefty layup right at the backboard there and just didn't even think about it and just shoveled the pass into $3.
Yeah, the Bucks starting the half with the same type of energy they began. I mean, you see they're not switching. They are just blowing up these handoffs with the likes of Di Vincenzo and Matthews.
But maybe that's one of the things that happened at the beginning that might not continue is can they continue this form of energy through another shorthanded half? I hope they can because it's been a lot of fun.
So Middleton is out. Is he like in foul trouble or something? I'm interested to see why that is.
He is not. He has one.
Man, Wes Matthews is just getting through these screens like crazy. Now they're late clock. Yeah, illegal screen on Robinson. Man, Wes Matthews, the way he is competing and getting through these screens, and Butler has got to do a better job of setting these screens up. Like he's got to take a dribble to his right and then cross over and run Matthews into that screen. If you're starting from just a dead standstill and the screener is also at a dead standstill, it's much easier to get through it.
Okay, let's get to some of your questions. Somebody asked if we would do Brook Lopez and Bledsoe for Chris Paul. I would not. I think that it would be so hard to replace what Brook Lopez does, and some would say, oh, they have his identical twin potentially on roster. Robin Lopez is not nearly as good as Brook, and I think that, yes, Chris Paul would help them, but losing what they would lose would not be worth it.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, there's no reason to put Lopez in that trade. Like, Oklahoma City's rebuilding. They don't need him. So, give him some other salary to do that with instead. Now, throw Robin Lopez into that trade, absolutely.
What are from Rohan Mystery? What are our mystery? What are our picks for the second game today? I will only pick it straight up because I don't know. I don't know off the top of my head what the spread is, but I'm going to go with the Lakers. I think that they are the better team, and I think especially with Daniel House being out, that takes away one potential option. I will actually look at the spread using the live update on bookies.com. I'm guessing you would pick the Lakers as well in Game 3.
Sorry, I muted myself. I thought I was about to sneeze, but I wasn't. So, I would. I think.
So you and I are terrible with spreads, but we could play through this live. It's a 4-point spread in favor of the Lakers. Does that change it for you?
It feels about right to me. So that's
Here's my thing though. I think if it's close, that the Lakers win it. So I'll go Lakers, even giving up the 4. And I have that's us trying to work through things on the fly. How would you rate the Heat's chances against the Celtics or Raptors in the likely Eastern Conference Finals? I would have them as underdogs. I think I'd have them underdogs in both. Definitely against the Celtics. I think the Celtics' talent in particular, I think it'll be a challenge for the Heat to score, and I don't think the Heat's defense will do as well against, that it will do super well against the versatile threats, especially if Gordon Hayward becomes available, which is something we don't know right now. I'd have them as the underdog, but they absolutely have a chance. I mean, this is against those teams. I mean, it wouldn't be any sort of extreme favorite. Let's see. That's too big a question. How would you compare this Bucks situation and the team to LeBron's Cavs the first time around? I mean, you and I disagree. That's actually one of the more substantive arguments you and I have ever had about the Cavs. That first era LeBron Cavs team. I thought their talent was woefully inefficient. You thought it was better than that. But this Bucks team is way better, and they're also better coached. So I don't think they're particularly comparable, though the sentiment from the players is all that matters, and the sentiment might not be that different.
Well, the number one difference I would say is that LeBron James at that point was way better than Giannis is now.
That's true.
All right, Bucks finally looking to see if they can take the lead here. They've had many an opportunity to do so. They try to get some more interaction to get some switches. Middleton out to Hill. His drive. Help comes from Bam. Hill just has to throw it up. Lopez still has time. Gets it to Hill. Short. Hill rebounds. They get it back out. Middleton. Nice closeout from Crowder. Here's Middleton on the mid-ranger. Short. Again, great defensive possession from the Heat. Now they throw it ahead. It's Bam trying to attack Lopez off the dribble. He has not tried that. And then he throws it away. What a defensive struggle this is becoming here.
And that is Adebayo's fifth turnover of this game. A lot of them just passes to no one in particular.
Yeah, and to show how no one that was, the Bucks are inbounding in their own front court right now. Middleton, they have not done too much ISO stuff for him in this one. Pick and roll, switch Bam onto him. Middleton on the drive. Bam stays with him, and he's stuck behind the backboard and turns it over.
Yeah, and that was a much better defensive play. And Bam, he wasn't tethered. He did the switch, so he wasn't tethered to Brook Lopez, which really helps him as a defender.
What is that, a fifth time that Milwaukee has failed to take the lead with it 57-56?
I think that's six.
Hero is in to maybe try and give him a little offensive life. Butler. Screen away for Hero. He beats Di Vincenzo, and they get a wide open shot finally, and it doesn't even draw iron.
I don't know if I'm going to have the time to count the last time the Heat scored.
I will have to talk about this stretch on the pod, right?
Oh, of course.
Let's see what they're going to run here. Middleton going to get the screen from Hill. Crowder gets through it. They do not want to switch that action with Dragic guarding George Hill. Middleton over Jay Crowder. Great defense from Jay Crowder. Jay Crowder, not only has it been his shooting, but defensively he has been much better than he has over the last couple of years. Butler can't get past Matthews again. Di Vincenzo forcing Hero towards the baseline. They switch that. Hero tries to draw the foul, and he floats it in. So Milwaukee finally not going to have a chance to take the lead on this possession. Lopez screens away for Di Vincenzo. Doesn't make contact on the screen. Hill, and he's going to draw the foul on Dragic.
And while that will not result in free throws, that is Miami's fourth team foul, so they will get him everywhere from here.
Yeah, that could prove important, although really other than Bledsoe, the Bucks don't have anyone who's talented at the BS foul drawing on the perimeter. And Bledsoe's
and I believe that was 7 scoreless possessions for the Heat after Milwaukee cut it to a 1-point game.
Yeah, Olynyk is in now, so I might try to go back to Bledsoe here if I were Bud to get that pick and roll going with Lopez. There's the pick and pop for Middleton. Not there. Yeah, so the Heat really, they're switching stuff with Bam, but they are not switching stuff now with Dragic. As Dragic gets out in transition, and Brook Lopez, you see already the impact that Olynyk being in has. You might go to Marvin Williams here. This would be a great time for the Bucks to start switching everything. Another missed three. I mean, they've been stuck on 56 for decades at this point. Olynyk tries Lopez. Oh, what a fake by Olynyk. Fake. Olynyk really has caused problems for Lopez in this series.
9:27 was the last points for Milwaukee.
Pick and roll. Middleton going at Olynyk. We're going to go the other way. Kelly Olynyk with the blocking or the charge drawn on Middleton.
Kelly Olynyk is plus 23 in 9 minutes.
Yeah.
And some of that is using him at the right part. Part of it is Kelly Olynyk's been really good.
Yeah, I really think that, this is the time. Go with Marvin Williams in this matchup and bring Lopez back in at a later point, maybe. Dragic off at 2 screens. They do switch this, and it is Marvin Williams in the game for Lopez. And what are we going to get here? Looks like a travel out on the perimeter on Hero. No, a foul underneath Olynyk trying to post up.
So we'll see if Milwaukee can break their streak. This has been, I think it's 4.5 minutes since they scored any points.
Yeah, what a rock fight this is right now. Williams hands off Di Vincenzo. They go under on him. He almost loses it anyway. Gets another screen. Williams tries to slip it. Passes a billion miles an hour right at his head. And then Matthews loses it. Crowder looking to finish. Back to Butler. Butler blows the layup, but a foul is called on Middleton. Let's see if there's any contact here or not. Yep, Middleton just barely has the arms forward, and it hits the arm of Butler. So let's catch up here just on the overall stats right now. Milwaukee 90 offensive rating. Miami 103. They're in the high one teens at halftime. So this has really been a massive struggle. And the Bucks, a lot of red on that shot chart now, shooting the jump shot. 3 of 12 for mid-range. 4 of 14 in the paint non-restricted area. And only 7 shots at the rim, by the way, as well. And then the three-point shot above the break, 4 of 15.
Well, and here's another thing that's ridiculous. Miami's turned the ball over 5 times in this quarter, and Milwaukee has 10 total points.
Well, they've been smart enough to just throw it out of bounds instead of turning it over on a live ball, right?
I'm checking, cleaning the glass to see if there's anything interesting there, but we can answer some questions instead. Projected Bucks starting 5 next year, assuming Giannis doesn't get traded. I'm going to guess if Giannis doesn't get traded, I'm going to guess the same 5. The Bucks don't have a lot of capacity to change personnel. I mean, Bledsoe, Lopez, Giannis, those guys are basically locked in. Matthews, I think they'll kind of try to figure out a way to bring him back. I mean, he could choose something else. It's really in Matthews' court because the Bucks don't have the capacity. And then, I mean, Middleton obviously is a lock too.
We sure Olynyk isn't just a good player and not some change of pace guy. I mean, it's particularly when he's played at center, he could really cause problems for teams. Even going back to his Celtics days, when he signed a 4-year, $50 million deal, that wasn't like an insane contract, and he could fit with a lot of guys due to his shooting ability. I think he improved his shooting ability in Miami. Now, was that a good decision to sign him, given where the Heat were? And he's been in a lot of trade rumors just because there's always a feel that the Heat need to dump salary and get somebody better. But Olynyk is a totally fine player, as a third big, and he causes problems for your traditional centers.
Oh, we got a question of, is there any chance Chris Paul negotiates a buyout? Would you do that as OKC? The chances of that are 0.0. Not any higher than that. There's so much time left on his contract, and Chris Paul is the head of the Players Association. I think that would cause a bunch of challenges for him. So no chance, but he'll play on that contract for at least one more year. Now, the one that I've said before is I think there's at least a slight chance that he could theoretically decline that final year option and become a free agent and basically just not maximize his money. But again, that raises challenges as the head of the NBPA as well. Should Portland go after Wes Matthews in the offseason? Sure. I mean, I think you could help there. Really, off the top of my head, we'll go through this obviously when we do offseason previews. The forward line for like the guys that Portland needs most are pretty limited, and I'm assuming they'll be using the mid-level exception. There are worse ways to use that than Wes Matthews for sure.
Just catching up to see if there's anything important on Twitter. Yeah, it was an 0 for 9 stretch from the floor with 3 turnovers for the Bucks, including 8 missed jumpers, and that stretch continues. They're still stuck on 56 as Butler gets the first free throw. Middleton, by the way, he sat down for just about 30 seconds or so. I think they just wanted to get him a quick blow before the under 7 timeout. Let's take a look at the matchups. Bledsoe's out. It's Hill, Di Vincenzo, Connaughton, Middleton, and Marvin Williams. Marvin Williams open over Hero. Missed that one. Still a pretty decent contest for Miami on that one. Back out Olynyk. Gets Di Vincenzo in the air. Back to Hero. Now Olynyk on the fake screen, but he traveled.
Yeah, and that was a great job by Marvin Williams stepping up and causing Olynyk to think twice, and that created the travel.
Yeah, and the timing was off there where Crowder cut through, but they didn't wait for Crowder to get through, and so that's why his man disrupted the play. Middleton trying to work on Crowder off the ball. Crowder just fronting him. Offensive foul. Middleton just kept trying to grab the arm of Crowder and get around him, and that's just great effort by Jay Crowder in a full front on the baseline. Would not even let Chris Middleton get the ball. And really, I think for Middleton, these guards, the little guards for the Bucks, have got to set better screens, or Marvin Williams has got to set a better screen. They're not going to switch that with Olynyk now. Hero fakes out Hill, gets open, good switch onto it by Di Vincenzo. Now it's Butler. Late clock. They get it out. He's going to drive it to Hero. Nunn has to chuck. Good defense again. I think the Butler ISO would be good right now with Matthews out. Here's Connaughton blowing the layup.
Still at 56.
5-on-4. Crowder, 3, way off, and Olynyk is shoved underneath. Not sure whether they're going to get
Di Vincenzo.
Yeah.
2-arm shove.
Yep. Well, no, actually, both Williams and Di Vincenzo shoved him.
Yeah, they gave the foul to Di Vincenzo. That was the one that I saw.
So
yeah, you're right. Well, if two of us commit the foul, then they can't call either of us for it, right?
Yeah, Bledsoe is back, and I think they really need just his impetus now, get them something in transition, some kind of physical force attacking the rim. Nice pass from Hero. Pick and pop. Crowder, yes.
Did Marvin Williams call out a switch there? And there was some sort of miscommunication on what they were trying to do.
Now they blew it again. And again, this is all Marvin Williams has him. As there's finally, they hit a 3 coming back the other way with Connaughton. But, yeah, that's a couple times. They just haven't gotten out there quickly enough, and they've given up 3s. Now they are switching it with Williams onto Hero. Hero looking to drive. Puts him in the mix. Good contest. Rims out. Williams trying to post deep on Hero. Let's see if they send help here. Williams backing down with the old Mad strength. Easy hook shot for Marvin Williams. Once the number 2 overall pick in the draft. A little bit of a throwback to the skill level for Marvin Williams. Bledsoe tried to draw the foul on Butler's handoff, and then Butler throws away. He's been awful with his passing in this game. Middleton going at Crowder. That's going to be an and one in favor of Chris Middleton. The floodgates are open for the Bucks, Danny.
Once the lid came off the bucket, it got twice as big. But yeah, that was a nice finish by Chris Middleton there.
And you know what it's been, though, is transition. First, it was Middleton attacking Crowder in transition. Before that, or I'm sorry, that was last. And then before that, Marvin Williams contesting Hero and then getting a deep post-up, again, against a non-set defense. Oof, missed free throw from the 90% free throw shooter. Could have cut it to 4. Butler is out. Dragic is back. And we will be taking a quick timeout to tell you about our friends at bookies.com for the final time this evening.
Yeah, bookies.com is a great resource for anyone who's looking for live odds. That's one of my favorite things. It's an easy to use site, but also those expert picks. And especially if you're over 21, and especially if you're in a place like Pennsylvania, New Jersey, or anywhere where online sports betting is legal, which is growing, will be growing pretty soon, can go to bookies.com and get that excellent information so you can crush online bookies, many of which you can see on their site because of how their interface.
Yeah, and they have full reviews of those sites. DraftKings Sportsbook, 20% welcome bonus, up to $500, plus up to a $500 risk-free bet at DraftKings Sportsbook. You can click through there at bookies.com and follow them on Twitter at bookies for more information about NBA betting.
Will Marvin Williams be in a Bucks jersey next year? My instinct is no, just because it's so hard. Non-bird rights, which is what you get when a player is only on your team for a full year or part of a year, are just so limited for players on the minimum, and it seems like the Bucks aren't going to spend a ton of money. And so if I'm to guess that Marvin Williams is going to get some or all of somebody's mid-level exception, my guess is going to be that that's not with Milwaukee.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see what the market is for him. Because he got bought out, sometimes psychologically it seems like that affects the league in their valuation of him. A player who is like now then a quote-unquote minimum player.
Yeah.
Iguodala screening, now screening away, but they get through it again. Yeah, Heat just aren't setting good enough screens right now. And neither are the Bucks, frankly. Here's Iguodala over Lopez on the deep jumper. Iguodala has hit a couple of long twos that have been big shots for Miami late in the clock. Hill, no advantage gained on that. Back to Bledsoe, looking to attack Iguodala. Gets a hand in, swing it around. Olynyk cutting off Connaughton, but it squirts right to Hill for the layup. That's the best offense Milwaukee's run all day. Nunn looks to attack Olynyk off the screen. Marvin Williams getting through it decently enough. It is nice to have a big man who can shoot off of that kind of action, though.
That's tough footwork.
Here's a deep three from Hill. Tried to get going after the layup. Could not. Iguodala looking to set a flare screen on the weak side for Hero, but they go into the post to Olynyk. Let's see if they double. No, Iguodala sets up the rocking chair jumper, but misses. Bledsoe, he's had success attacking Nunn in this series. Hero loading to him. Off the screen, downhill against Olynyk. Olynyk with the strip. Man, he's made some plays tonight at the rim. Now it's Dragic running the floor. Hero didn't look that way. Instead, the three from Tyler Hero. Huge swing there. Olynyk with the strip. Miami with the three. They get the 2-for-1, and now an 8-second differential for the Bucks.
Yeah, I'm happy you brought up the 2-for-1. That was a huge thing about Hero's shot.
Hill works into the lane. Floater over Olynyk. More good defense by the Heat, and they can control for the last shot now.
I think they should use a little bit more alacrity here. It's 9 seconds left. You can take some time to get into something.
Yeah, two screens coming here for Dragic. Looks to attack Williams. Floats it up. Dragic misses, and it'll be an 8-point advantage for the Milwaukee Bucks to overcome to save what remains of their season.
And the leading scorer in this game is still a Buck. It is now Dante Di Vincenzo, 15 points on 5 of 8 from the field, 3 of 5 from 3, and 2 free throw attempts. Free throw margin is 17-9 in favor of the Bucks, but the made free throw advantage is only 3 because Milwaukee's 12 of 17 from the line.
Yeah, and Jimmy Butler, he's had 2 awesome games in this series, but he's been totally controlled. Like, they're not Wes Matthews, who's not the greatest defender at that position, has really kind of shut him down in this game. He's got 11 points and 5 turnovers, only taken 6 shots, only 2 free throws. That's been a huge part of the success for the Bucks, by the way, is actually not fouling for once. Only 9 free throw attempts for Miami. So I think that'll be the biggest thing I'll be watching in the fourth quarter is Jimmy Butler going to get going, and specifically, is Jimmy Butler going to be able to get to the foul line?
We can do this one quickly from Seth Rivers. Would either the Jazz or Nuggets consider a Gobert for Michael Porter Jr. trade? MPJ on the Jazz would be fascinating, but no. First of all, the big challenge is contracts, and remember that the
well, how about the Nuggets have the best center in the NBA already on their team?
Yeah, well, the idea could be theoretically maybe you could do a Twin Towers approach, play those guys together. But so I think neither team really. Well, maybe the Jazz should. Just you and I are thinking that they might be nearing the point of no return with Rudy Gobert. But no, that's not the type of trade that happens.
Yeah, I just don't see. I mean, if you're going to trade Michael Porter Jr., you get someone who's a better fit than Rudy Gobert.
Yeah. From Chris Pereira, has Eric Bledsoe just played poorly on offense lately, or is this what he is now? It's mostly what he is now. I actually think Bledsoe, other than taking some terrible jump shots, which he absolutely does, some of his distribution in this game has been better. But the jump shot, at least for right now, it is pretty broke. And I don't think that continues forever, but I also don't think Bledsoe's a great jump shooter.
Yeah, well, and it really, like, he got it to an acceptable point in Phoenix, and I think becoming more of a spot-up guy, it's almost like he'll take bad shots still, but I think he almost feels guilty about taking those bad shots when he takes them, and therefore they don't go in. I mean, in addition to the fact that, you know, he's never was a great shooter to begin with, but he was like acceptable as a jump shooting point guard to where, you know, he could run pick and roll and be fine and hit some shots. It just, since he's gone to Milwaukee, it just hasn't been that way.
What veteran should the Atlanta Hawks target in free agency to add to their young core? I think they're pretty. I mean, the Hawks, especially if they're going to give minutes to all of the young guys that they've recently drafted, I don't know that there's something that's like an urgent thing. I brought up the idea before of them targeting potentially a shooting guard if they don't think Kevin Huerter is the answer. Maybe somebody who has a little bit more defensive chops. I don't have a person off the top of my head. Wes Matthews, incidentally, could be that guy. That might be one. And then maybe a stable veteran forward to add to the rotation, but they're pretty stuffed now.
Yeah, and I mean, particularly because there isn't anyone in free agency where you're like, okay, do I really want to give a full starter money 4-year contract to this guy? And I don't see who that wing player is for them. All right, we're back here. None. They're trying to get it into the post to Olynyk. Instead, they go backdoor to Dragic, and Bledsoe has been wonderful defensively with the steal. Then he goes underneath. What a leave for Brook Lopez. That's a move that Eric Bledsoe likes a lot. He'll almost pick up his dribble a step late, get under the rim, but draw a ton of help, and that time it worked out for him. Sometimes it leads to turnovers. Olynyk switched onto by Bledsoe. I'm sorry, that's Dragic. Now it's Olynyk in the post. Size advantage on Middleton. Goes into him. Lopez came late with the help, and Kelly Olynyk continues what has been a wonderful game.
Yeah, 12 points, 6 rebounds in this game.
Di Vincenzo, wow, that is a quick three. Again, just not a great possession. Iguodala going right at Middleton. Blows the layup. Bledsoe looking to cut into the 8-point lead against Hero. Lopez posting up. They get it to him. He was in the lane for hours, and he still misses a couple of layups. Now Olynyk, he might have fouled him on that play.
Just a little bit. Interesting. I'm totally fine with them calling this a shooting foul. I think the league has been too aggressive not calling things shooting fouls, but that was before he went up, the original contact.
Yeah, but then Lopez went through.
Okay,
okay, there you go. Good call. Snug pick and roll coming here for Bledsoe into the lane. 4 heat around him. Gets stripped. Nunn out hustles Lopez to the rebound, and that's going to be a loose ball foul on Brook Lopez, who is worse the wear. Got hit in the back. Oh, no, he got elbowed by Nunn going for it. But Nunn was clearly in position to get the ball. Hopefully Lopez is okay. Seems to be. Yeah, and Eric Bledsoe's got to start looking to kick the ball out to shooters because they are really loading up on him when he gets into the paint.
No, they are showing this a lot of times.
Yeah, Lopez looks like he's bleeding from his lip a little bit after that collision. Watch the weak side here. Hero switched onto by Middleton. Now Williams getting through. So it's Williams and Lopez together, which we have seen little. And a great play again by the Bucks. Middleton able to step up and disrupt the attempted dribble handoff. And Kelly Olynyk raises his hand. He was just dribbling to absolutely nowhere. And he doesn't have the speed advantage on Williams either.
That's also 2 early fouls for Miami.
Lopez picking up. Oh, man. Bledsoe missed Di Vincenzo cutting wide open. Now they want to get Lopez in the post. Good front from Dragic. Good help on the weak side from Olynyk. High-low, it's Williams. His jumper. That's good fundamental offense by Marvin Williams. His man coming over to take away the lob, so you go right to the high post. Olynyk off the screen from Iguodala, starting to cool off a little bit. Will Milwaukee get to 75 points in this game? Here's Bledsoe again, that deep penetration. Lopez getting past Nunn, who competed to get back to him, and Lopez has not had the outside touch today.
Yeah, Brook Lopez only 3 3-pointers and has missed all of them.
Pick and roll, Dragic down the lane. Goes for the Derrick Rose fake, and Bledsoe, what a play to get back and just take it away. He knew exactly what his old Phoenix teammate was doing. Now it's Middleton. He's got the advantage. Good help comes from Olynyk. Again, they just cannot take advantage of the help that they're drawing. Guys are open, and the Milwaukee Bucks are missing them right now.
Yeah, and this game is absolutely there for the taking for Milwaukee. They need Miami can play better offensively, but a couple of stops, a couple of buckets, and Milwaukee is right in the driver's seat.
Yeah, I mean that's been the story in large part to me of this series is the Bucks just not being able to take advantage of extra defensive attention. Middleton, oh, Iguodala is all over it. No chance there. That's the value of Andre Iguodala. He can still guard just about anybody in an isolation who's a wing player. Now Dragic forced away from the screen, tries to draw the foul, and they're going to give this to him, and I have no idea how on earth that referee could make that call because I had the literal exact same angle as him, and you don't have the depth perception to see whether that's a foul or not from that angle.
And that is Di Vincenzo's fifth foul, an impactful one for the guy who is still the leading scorer in this game.
I would go back to Duncan Robinson here as
Same.
as Spo. With Di Vincenzo has been the big problem against him. Maybe he can get going with Di Vincenzo out. Iguodala underneath, Bam, mid-ranger, Bam Adebayo. I mean, that shot is like the best shot that anyone could shoot in this game, apparently. 8-point game. Marvin Williams. Iguodala switching on to Bledsoe. They try to post up Williams on Hero. That doesn't work. Now it's Middleton. Double team by Iguodala. Bledsoe on the cut. Underneath. Williams finally with the layup.
That was a great pass by Eric Bledsoe. Got two guys in the air, then makes the behind the back to the open player.
Yeah, on these double teams, the Bucks guards, they want to cut right into the lane, and that time it worked. Man, Bam not ready for that pass from Dragic, who had a bit of steam on it. This has been probably the ugliest game of the playoffs. I think can we say that?
Up there.
20 turnovers for the Heat.
And they lead by 6.
Here's Bledsoe going at Hero. Tries to draw the foul. Can't. Yeah, Eric Bledsoe is not the finisher that he was a few years ago. And now Iguodala is wide open. They never got back. And that look.
Yeah, George Hill had to choose between two different members of the Heat. He chose not the guy at the basket, and so Iguodala gets a dunk.
Yeah, that's just not good enough communication. And they give up the dunk easily.
Yeah, I would say that to me that goes to Brook Lopez, who was back but was kind of shading towards Bam, who was not all the way back yet. I think you go the bigger threat is the guy who's standing right underneath the basket. Nice pass by Tyler Hero though.
I put that on Hill because nobody else can get Andre Iguodala except for you. There's other guys who are able to be running back and maybe pick up the guys above the arc, and to give up a dunk doesn't really. George Hill, he's this reputation as like a great veteran and a steady presence. Like he makes a lot of mistakes to me. Let's hit some questions.
Just a second. Okay. If you had to rank the Eastern Conference teams with what we know right now, would the Bucks still be on top in the regular season? Yes, absolutely, unequivocally. Would I do so as a playoff team? I'm not sure.
Like with Giannis?
Yeah, with Giannis. I mean that's the challenging thing. Like the Bucks were the best regular season team in the league, and I don't think anything should take away from that. And so that's why it's important to say your kind of your nuance, and that's why you and I are very very specific when we, like, for example, do our criteria for best player. It's a full season plus the playoffs, and so there are guys who are better in the regular season, there are guys who are better in the playoffs, there are guys who are getting load managed. All those things matter. Could a D-Rose trade to the Lakers help the Lakers? Yes. I think that they need more help during the non-LeBron minutes in particular, and that could theoretically open up some more time for Caruso with LeBron. But I don't like the pairing. Rose has gotten a little bit better off ball, but I don't love that pairing. I'd like to see somebody who's a little bit more versatile defensively and somebody who's more confident as a jump shooter.
Yeah, I don't think either of them loved that pairing in 17-18 with the Cavs either.
From Jabarshi, who is next year's favorite to win it all? Knowing what we know at this moment, the Clippers. I mean, they have the capacity to bring their entire team back. They have a billionaire owner. They're really good. I have them as the favorites to win this year. So, yeah, I think it's them. Though it is worth noting that first of all, we don't know what's going to happen with Giannis, but also the Western Conference, I think, is going to get even tougher to make it out of next year. So it could be another one of those circumstances where the most likely champion is in the Eastern Conference, even if the best team is in the West.
Catch up on some of the stats here. Miami has turned it over on 25% of their possessions. Oof. And I will give Milwaukee's defense credit there. But it's really been that has kept the Bucks in the game with 21 points off turnovers. If it weren't, and their transition, if it weren't for that, this probably would be out of reach still.
Well, yeah, I mean, a point on that, cleaning the glasses version of this, Milwaukee has a 72 offensive rating in the half court in this game. And neither team has scored a point off a putback in this game. There have been 13 offensive rebounds.
Good denial by Iguodala on Middleton. Oh, that's a good pass from Hill. And he sets up the catch and shoot from Bledsoe. Finally, an incisive pass as Iguodala was fronting Middleton. Nunn tried to get over there, and they set up the three-pointer. Here's Hero on the drive. Leaves it for Bam on the alley-oop as Middleton could not get inside of him.
Yeah, great job drawing the help, getting Brook Lopez to move a step towards him and then make the pass to Bam.
Yeah, and there was no one else down there. Middleton needed to get his butt into Bam on that play. Switch this pick and roll. Now they want to get Marvin Williams in the post against Tyler Hero. He'll back down. Let's see if help comes. Better job by Hero. Williams recovers somehow, though, and they'll reset. Here's Middleton. Between his legs. Rushes the jumper over Bam. You see how you have to shoot it quickly when Bam is guarding you. Here's another looping pass to the corner. Hill getting it back. Hill drive. This is great defense from Miami. Middleton tried to draw the foul. It was unearned, and now Miami is in transition.
And I think Milwaukee has about 4 possessions here to get in closer contact before this gets out of control.
Yeah, Iguodala has been really good today, by the way. Here's Hero. Fouled from behind. Oh, and that's going to count. Middleton again. Chris Middleton, now he's had to have a massive role offensively, but he just clubs him in the head. You got Brook Lopez right there. Brook Lopez is the best rim protector in the NBA. So, yeah, you worried. This is starting to get dire for Milwaukee now.
And it was funny, at one point during a previous game, I was actually listening to the radio broadcast, and I had forgotten that Tyler Hero was born in Milwaukee and went to high school in Greenfield, Wisconsin, so very close.
Hero pushing it to 10. Only about maybe 13 possessions left for Milwaukee to do something about it, and their offense has not exactly looked explosive. Pick and pop, but the pass wasn't there. Lopez was open. Here's Middleton. Stripped from behind Crowder. Then Williams misses and finally gets a second opportunity.
And I think we know the answer to this question, but we'll see if Budenholzer keeps Chris Middleton on the floor with 5 fouls. I'm assuming he is. This would be ludicrous to pull it, but
yeah. Bledsoe doing a good job on Butler. They're not going back to Wes Matthews. Instead, it's Crowder with a big 3. And guess who is guarding him, Danny? Well, it actually wasn't technically him. They interchanged Nunn and Crowder, and Middleton did not pick him up. Middleton against Nunn. Help comes. Fights up a shot, and he'll go to the line.
I didn't see much on first blush there to say there was a foul.
Yeah, the arm was forward when he hit him on the elbow.
And so Wes Matthews coming in, he has been very aggressive defensively, and Dante Di Vincenzo coming in. And I mean, Di Vincenzo, again, he had been very aggressive offensively, and I'm not saying it was entirely him, but some of this Miami run came with Di Vincenzo off the floor.
Yeah, Matthews.
And some bad Milwaukee offense.
Yeah, Bledsoe is going to get a little bit of a break here. Interesting to see whether they come back with him or not. And looks like Di Vincenzo was poised to come in actually for Middleton. That's why he's not in right now, to just give Middleton a little bit of a break, but not a lot of time left. And it looks like Spo is going to get a timeout here. This is Miami actually has 2 use it or lose it's remaining, so this may be a timeout fest here. But I'm going to say something here. I don't think Miami should use their other timeout because I think Milwaukee's guys look more gassed than Miami's. I totally agree with you on that, and I would not have called the timeout either. I was about to say the same.
Sorry to interrupt you then.
Well, that's all right. I get to talk enough on this show, I would say.
Why no Derek Jones Jr. from Miami in this game? I don't think they've really needed him. I mean, Olynyk has been very good off the bench. Andre Iguodala has been very good off the bench. Maybe you could replace some of the Kendrick Nunn, but remember also Miami has done, even if they haven't drilled a ton of threes in this game, they're 11 of 31. Having a little bit more floor spacing has done well, has really helped. Let's see. Is there a chance that Budenholzer's job is on the line in this game? There's a chance. I mean, absolutely. When teams react to disappointment, I've said before that actually undue optimism is more damaging than disappointment, but disappointment's a clear number 2. And so you could always see something. I don't expect it though. I think they bring this back together. But yeah, there's a chance.
What's the argument on how to better align incentives for the regular season and playoffs? Shorten the season, 58 games.
Shorten the season. Other than that,
I got more too. The play-in, I think, actually would. A lot of people say that cheapens the regular season. I think it actually would make the regular season better.
I have another way. My old favorite: higher seeds get to choose their opponents, because then you create it instead of 1 versus 2 versus 3 versus 4. It makes a much bigger difference.
I like it.
It frustrates me that we still haven't gotten to that. Even if some teams would just go chalk. Once a team went chalk and picked a better opponent and lost, it would stop going that way.
Can you turn off the tweets? They spoil a lot. Well, I mean, in theory, aren't you watching the game while we're talking anyway? So I wouldn't think you'd be looking at that except when there's a pause and you're kind of just catching up on it. But if we do get down to a close game at the end, we do turn them off for that reason.
Other than Minnesota, any rumors on teams on the market? Portland, Indiana, Spurs. I haven't heard much, though that's not really my beat. I'll be interested in how that goes. I mean, it was funny. It seemed like there was going to be a big run. There could be a big run on teams when valuations were going crazy, but that happened, and then COVID happened, so I don't think we ever got those real sales that could have been at the peak of the market. Let's see. If the Heat finish this game out, who do you think presents the better matchup? I will presume better as in more favorable to Miami, and more favorable to Miami, in my opinion, is the Toronto Raptors. I think Miami could do a better job shutting down Toronto's offense, and I mean, both teams could create problems for Miami's offense, but I think the Raptors are who they would want to face.
Yeah, I believe that as well. All right, well,
Nate, quick thing. Did your Sloan presentation have how you proposed to fix the charge? Because somebody asked about that, and I was going to point them to that.
Yeah, it did.
Okay. But now we're back. 5:19 left. Miami up 9. I think we're getting – it's really dangerous for Milwaukee. A couple stops, a couple buckets, because even if it holds to this for another minute or two, it's hard for them to come back.
Yeah, and they have the ball, of course. Nunn screening for Hero. He's open. He didn't take that. Instead, Matthews, great job off of Butler, who is not a threat to shoot the spot up. I don't know why Hero didn't just take that 3. I think he had run the play in his mind. Here's Middleton. Tries to lob. Lopez, man, what a reach that guy has. Bucks got a good start here to this last 5 minutes. Bledsoe hounding Nunn, who's getting a lot of time. Nunn into the lane, missed that, rebounded by Middleton. See when they go back to Dragic, you imagine that'll be soon. And in fact, he's at the table. Here's Hill, run off the line by Hero. Bam with the interception. Now he's running into the backcourt. He beats Lopez to the ball, but it's recovered. Bucks still no fresh shot clock. Hill into the lane, rejected by Hero. And are they going to call a foul on this?
They did, and Hero's calling for the challenge. This, from what I saw, this could be a worthy challenge.
Let's see. Watch the right arm of Hill. Yeah, it looks pretty good to me from that angle above the basket. Oh, yeah, clean as a whistle. So this would get overturned should they choose to challenge it. Would you use the challenge? Looks like they are. He's got an extra timeout anyway. No, why not?
Yeah, and I mean, so it's interesting how the thresholds for challenges change as a game moves on, because early on you don't want to use it on a lower utility thing, But one of the other important elements of this is that Miami doesn't really have any guys in severe foul trouble. So they don't have to take one off of one of their players. Theoretically, they could try to get one on Middleton or Di Vincenzo. So you could say that, hey, the leverage gets higher, but at the same point, if this takes 2 free throws off the board for George Hill, I think it's worth it. And now we can answer some of your questions. Why is it so dark in my room? Because I forgot to turn the light on, and I could do that right now, but I'm going to stay here. My room does not, it has lights. It does not have lights on, so it's just sunlight that's been driving this.
So when did Jay Crowder turn into Steph Curry? I don't know. I think when he just came back from the bubble, he's been great, and couldn't be a better time with him about to be a free agent. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, it's as clean as it gets. And probably actually should then have been a foul on George Hill on Butler going the other direction.
Yeah, so people are asking what happens if overturned. I believe it would be a jump ball.
That is correct. How are they still looking at this? Just to get the time? Yeah, it looks like the one ref is like ready to get out of there. Yeah, and there's no way that's a foul. So this will be a jump ball, but I still like the challenge here because number one, you're guaranteed to win it. They did a good job of seeing that. And then number two, this could have cut it to 5.
Yeah, and also it forces Milwaukee to run more time. Their half-court offense hasn't been very good in this game, even if the Bucks win the jump ball.
Yep, no foul, jump ball. They'll have to... Now this should, in theory... I don't know why the Bucks have a fresh shot clock here.
Yeah, because in the case of an inadvertent whistle, I don't think you'd put it to a full 24.
Lopez, wow, he just ran over Bam, and he's going to get a loose ball foul.
See, look how good a challenge it was.
Nobody in the bonus yet, though. What's the foul situation right now here?
Each team has committed 4, so now it's free throws from here on out. And this is exactly the circumstance I wish they would say in the bonus, because functionally each team is.
Yeah, I have no idea why they don't do that. Yeah, Lopez, he's way over into Adebayo. Bud has not used his challenge yet, correct?
I believe he has not.
But he's only got 2 timeouts left as well. So if he uses one here, that would mean he goes under 3 minutes with only 1 timeout left. Good denial by Matthews. And no, we're going to get a foul underneath. I think Hero, either Hero or Dragic.
Oh, no, maybe the shot clock did start.
Thank you. That is correct. All right, let's try again here. Let's see whether Butler can get going. He, in theory, is the closer for this Miami team. 2 guards screening for Butler at the elbow. Interesting set. Here's Butler against Bam. Bam mid-ranger. Ooh, it just misses, and Middleton did well to get the rebound. Now Middleton against Butler, swinging around, wants the screen. Dragic getting through it. They got to make contact on these screens for once. Middleton, though, got just enough airspace on Butler, and the Bucks not dead yet, only down 5. But you got to make contact and force the switch. That's what they're going for. Now Dragic forced towards the baseline. Back out Hero. Stuck along the baseline himself. Bledsoe, ooh, he could have had an interception there, but it's Miami ball with 11 to shoot.
So we're at 3.5 minutes about there. So you assume two possessions per minute. That's about 7 left for them to make up the 5. That's doable, but it's significantly more doable if they can get a stop here.
Yeah.
And Miami's using the additional use it or lose it timeout that they have.
Yeah, and I don't see the point of this. Middleton has played a ton of minutes. Why are you going to let him catch his breath, and come out here. The Bucks also just can't score normally in the half court. So I really don't understand this. It's Miami ball, right, with 11 on the shot clock?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Miami ball 11 on the
so
shot clock.
Maybe that makes it a little more defensible, but still, I think giving Middleton all this rest.
Oh, we have another live reaction. Per Woj, ESPN sources, Oklahoma City coach Billy Donovan won't be returning to the Thunder next season. His contract expired at season's end, and they've decided against pursuing an extension.
Wow. Or I guess technically it would be a new contract at this point. And that's interesting for a number of reasons. Number one, Nate McMillan actually got another year on his contract due to that. And this was it really had been very quiet that he didn't have a contract extension. It was talked about on the Hoop Collective pod actually a couple of days ago. And so he's not going to come back. Wow. All right, here we go. Big sequence here. Hero, Di Vincenzo is on him. Loses it. Now Dragic has to create late in the clock. Pump fake. Lopez bothers him. Oh, it rims in anyway. Huge shot by Goran Dragic with that patience. And even in the series preview, Danny, we talked about how he could get in the lane, pump fake, slow down that contest. Now here's Middleton, pick and pop. Oh, not a good job at all by Jay Crowder. Why is he helping off of Chris Middleton in that situation?
4-point game, 3 minutes to go. Also interesting in terms of personnel that's on the floor. Hero over Robinson. Again, you and I disagree with that.
Dragic with Matthews switching on to him. Adebayo, they take away that handoff. Now it's back to Dragic. He attacks, stepping back on Matthews. Dragic cannot get it. Bucks with a chance to cut it to a one-possession game. Middleton in transition. Drives. Oh, he missed the layup. He missed a critical one in game 3 as well.
And Miami should avoid going to the prevent offense here. They should work to get good stuff early in the clock.
Yeah, they don't want to switch this. Butler's going to come back again. Let's see if they can get the switch this time. They do. Butler on the roll at Lopez. Stopped by Lopez, but a foul. And Lopez wants the review. But this is an interesting one here for Bud because, as mentioned, if he loses a timeout, Butler is on the ground. I think what happened here, we'll get a look at the replay. I think Lopez knocked the ball out of Butler's hands, perhaps cleanly, and then as he went through the ball, he hits Butler in the face. Let's see if that's what happens. Yes. We'll get another angle at it. Ooh, this is really close. If they do review this, I think you have to if you're the Bucks at this point, and that is going to be the case. Lopez wants them to. They're going to. This is a critical review. What would your assessment be?
Oh, God. To me, I don't think there's enough to overturn it. But I mean, he did get ball first. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
what do you think?
Usually when you get the ball first, you're not going to get called. But yeah, I mean, there could be something they could point to. I'd like to see the slow motion, maybe from a different angle. I wanted to briefly say, so that was interesting. There were some parallels between that play and the Tyler Hero lob to Bam, running the action, trying to get Brook Lopez. But there were a couple differences. One, Jimmy Butler didn't make the pass, but part of the reason Butler didn't make the pass is that Bledsoe, who was the defender there, did a better job cutting off Bam, and he was he was kind of in line there to deflect the pass or impact the shot. I still think Butler should have tried the pass, considering how great Brook Lopez is at contesting those shots, but it was more justifiable than it would have been otherwise. And the way, of course, that penetration started was a bunch of pick and rolls. They're trying to get the switch, and then they just ran a normal pick and roll. And Jimmy Butler, a pretty good roll man as the driver, and it looks like Brook Lopez is not happy, and this is not going to be overturned. Let's see if we can catch it here. Clean up top, and then, I mean, that's tough right there, man. I mean, he definitely got it clean up top, and then he comes through and hits him in the face afterwards. But, I mean, that's one of those, technically is a foul when he gets him in the face afterwards, but that never should have been called. But it will be free throws for Butler.
He's missed some big ones, though. We'll see what happens here.
Yeah, that's the first one. But, yeah, we'll see if they run that Dragic-Butler pick and roll again. because I think late in the clock they probably should have switched that. But that's not what the scheme is, obviously. And they've had a lot of success by not switching with Di Vincenzo, mostly on Duncan Robinson and Hero, but that time on Dragic. Bucks need a bucket here. Double screen coming for Bledsoe. And I don't think they knew what they were running. Now the alley-oop, though. What a pass! As Lopez got behind the defense again, Bam was not there. There was really no reason for Bam to allow that. Great time cut by Lopez.
Yeah, Bam was ball watching a little bit there and didn't have track of Lopez or anybody else.
Here we go. That pick and roll. They do switch it this time because they had Bledsoe on Dragic. They're okay with that. Now they want to post up Butler against. Oh, what a terrible foul by Eric Bledsoe.
Like, he wasn't going to get that steal. I mean, maybe he could get a deflection there, but there and with Miami in the bonus, that's an even worse foul.
Yeah, not good at all by Eric Bledsoe, and that's the kind of play that Eric Bledsoe has become famous for. Just brain fart plays in crunch time of playoff games. And what was the other thing we talked about going into the fourth quarter? Can they keep Jimmy Butler off the line? They have not been able to do that in this quarter. 2 huge fouls that maybe could have changed the complexion of the game. And Butler with all 4 of the resulting free throws. Let's see what they're going to get here. Same play going the other direction. Bledsoe rejects the screen, gets past Dragic. Oh, I thought he had it in the lane. Instead, he looks for Lopez. Lopez, he will be shooting this. Great defense from Bam, but he's now called for the foul. I didn't see it in real time.
I didn't either, but we'll need a better angle on it.
Yeah, he might have had that left arm forward, contacting Lopez on the forearm. Lopez hitting the first, keeping Milwaukee's hopes alive. Remember in Game 2, it was a 9-point comeback with under 2 minutes remaining that could have forced overtime had it not been for that foul on Giannis. Oh, big missed free throw there. Killer. Bucks will probably have 2 possessions left without fouling, and they got to make up 5 points instead of 4 now with the missed free throw. 2 guard screening for Butler again. He wants to just attack. Good help from Bledsoe to take that away. Here's Dragic. Spot up mid-ranger goes down for Goran Dragic. And that could do it.
And a great job by Butler keeping his head up and keep finding that pass. Now it's over.
Yeah, Middleton missing the 3. That was a good shot. I thought that was a pretty good look in transition.
However, they are calling this Bucks ball, so I guess it's not all the way over yet. I thought Miami had grabbed that rebound.
3 possession game with 1:03 remaining. And yeah, Hero just lost it. Iguodala in and the offense-defense substitution. He picks up Bledsoe. Hero upset with himself. They want to hand off to Middleton. He'll try the 3 to draw the foul. Does not get it. That could have been a big call. And now Miami, as long as they can avoid turning it over on this possession, they should be good. Butler going early. But they're going to give up a foul here instead.
Yeah, Matthews reached in and got arm first. So that's I think that's a well-called foul.
Yeah, Matthews saying that Butler pushed off. Didn't get it, though. And sometimes you'll see that where guys will feel like someone is the offensive player is fouling them, and then they'll reach in and they'll pick up the foul. But, hey, Jimmy Butler, again, another play where they couldn't stop fouling him. Now, I will say the Lopez play, that was a clean block to me. That one I don't put the blame on. But these last 2 have been terrible.
Yes. And so that's, 4 of the 6.
And he's made all 6. 9-point game, and this is going to do it for the Bucks season. Middleton inside the arc, throws it away. Iguodala with those great hands again. Man, Iguodala. No, they are going to give the foul in favor of Iguodala, who can't believe it. Or, I'm sorry, in favor of Middleton on Iguodala.
It looked to me like there was almost a held ball in there. Iguodala like basically had a pretty good hand on it. Wow.
So no challenges left, and I think maybe they're going to look at whether it's a 2 or a 3 shot foul. I couldn't catch what it was. I think this is just going to be 2 free throws for Chris Middleton. Yes, his right foot's on the line. And another really close one. I mean, the hand is supposed to be part of the ball. But in that situation, up by 9, just let it go, Andre. He's taken a terrible shot. Just let him shoot it. Back to 7. Double team comes here. The Bucks are able to set up their defense. Butler in the same situation. He turned it over in game 2, and Crowder has to get a timeout, but they can't advance the ball here.
Jimmy Butler, second time he got doubled in that circumstance. Second time he didn't call a timeout, and having to burn another like 4 seconds makes it really close to an 8-second violation. This is I think it's extremely likely that this is going to be a turnover for Miami.
Yeah, keep in mind it's not until the shot clock turns to 15 that you actually have a backcourt violation. Now, if they wanted to, they could take both of their timeouts and advance the ball. I'm not sure I would do that, though. I actually, you know what, I might.
Actually,
I think I might.
I would.
Yeah, I think I might actually do that.
Because the way that you're most likely to lose this game is an immediate turnover.
Yeah. I mean, they're up 7. They got plenty of time. As long as you don't blow it here and you get the ball in bounds, they have to foul you. Yeah, so I would. I think I would use the second timeout to advance it, because then, I mean, if they inbound it from where Crowder was with a second and a half basically to get it over, it's pretty difficult to do.
So Woj said on the Donovan thing, with reduced league revenues amid pandemic, there remains uncertainty on how long the Thunder might continue with key veterans in place before changing course on playoff contention. The timetable on many plans in the NBA remains fuzzy. This was an
all right, here we go.
Back.
They do not advance the ball. They throw it up. Ooh, Adebayo threw down Marvin Williams.
And they're calling it.
No, they are not. They are not calling it. They are calling the foul on Middleton right there on Bam. Budenholzer can't believe it. And neither can
wow.
I. That one seemed like it was probably going to happen. And oh yeah, that's as obvious as it gets, particularly in that situation where they're at a real disadvantage to get it over. I mean, he fully extends the arm, and that will foul out Chris Middleton, and that's going to do it for his season and the Bucks season, their last gasp, as Adebayo has a couple of free throws. Their best player is out of the game now. Going back to the Donovan thing, it does seem like Chris Paul, he had that video that many termed sounded like a farewell, so it may be well known that the Thunder are going to go in a different direction here now.
Yeah, there have been murmurs about that for a while. And the other important thing for Oklahoma City is if it could be a mass exodus, because Gallinari's not under contract, so he can do whatever he wants. But Steven Adams could potentially be traded. Dennis Schroeder could potentially be traded. And nobody knows the value of top draft picks like Sam Presti. And even though Shea and Lou Dort are both talented players, they could absolutely, if they want to tear it down, they could be one of the worst teams in the league next year.
9-point game. Bucks will push it up. They load to Bledsoe. Here's Lopez going inside the arc for a floater for some reason. Gets a dunk back to cut it to 7. They get it in. And Dragic, an excellent free throw shooter, is fouled. Yeah,
We'll see if Budenholzer approaches this the way his disciple Taylor Jenkins did in the games that were the ending of games that were the bane of our existence on the League Pass NBA cast.
You know what? He's going to, just because he's pissed off about that lack of a foul call on Marvin Williams. I bet you they are going to string it out until the absolute very end. Dragic missing the free throw. But, I mean, 3-possession game with 18 seconds left. That's pretty tough. And a pretty tough end to this Bucks season as well. I mean, they fought hard without Giannis. They didn't have enough offensively in the end. But, of course, it was the games with Giannis, all 3 of which they lost, which sunk them in this series. And
a great stat from John Schumann. The Miami Heat become the first team since the 2012-13 Grit and Grind Grizzlies to make the conference finals as a 5 seed.
Well, and of course, now this wasn't necessarily the case in this series, but it was a huge injury to Russell Westbrook. Did Iguodala foul again?
Yes, and he's aggrieved again. But I think that was the right
and they're
call.
yelling at him for doing this, and they should be right. And Iguodala's like, hey, I'm a veteran. I know what I'm doing. I didn't foul these guys. Well, Andre, they just called 2 in a row on you, so maybe don't do it. Yeah, one thing I talked about the potential for a Chris Paul trade in my chat today for Dunked on Prime subscribers. Link there, of course, is available to you. If you haven't signed up yet, if you go for the total access option, you'll have access to our Discord server. And what is this? Yep, here's another foul, huh? I guess with its 6, it's not ridiculous. I will say that.
Yeah. Though that is Di Vincenzo's 6th, and so now he's out of the game too. So you're losing your 3-point shooters.
Yeah. And, if Lopez hits a free throw, if that free throw goes down for the Bucks, if they get the offensive foul on Marvin Williams that they should have, or I guess technically a loose ball foul, maybe it would have been a little different. But, I mean, honestly, this series was not close. Iguodala is still continuing to complain about that strip. He's going to lose his status as a defensive replacement pretty soon if he keeps fouling 3-point shooters when they're way up at the end of games. Bucks still have 1 timeout left. They do not elect to use it with it an 8-point game, and maybe it will in fact be the end. Williams, his 3 misses. Adebayo has it. Of course.
And if Budenholzer uses his timeout here, I might just walk away.
Well, hey, guess what? We could walk away right now. We're not wedded to this like with League Pass. So let's turn this shit off, and we'll talk to you on Dunked On tonight. If you are a Dunked On Prime subscriber, and if you are not, please do so. If money is an issue for you, I know it's tough times for a lot of people. Send us an email at dunkedonprime@gmail.com. Just a couple sentences, and it will hook you up with that special circumstances pricing if you are not a member already. Talk to y'all in a few